and sit down.
What is going on, Dads? And welcome to episode 67 of the Dads After Dark Show, recorded on Sunday, October 17th, 2021. We're your hosts, Drew and John, and thank you as always for joining us tonight for some Nintendo and Halloween Mayhem! What does it mean? Who knows? You'll find out tonight, because tonight we're talking about a brand new Halloween Mayhem, but that's a little bit later. Before we get there, John, buddy, how you been? It's just back being you, back on the show.
Been a while.
It's been a while. It's always been a while. It's always 2 weeks, but it always feels a lot longer. I feel like 2 weeks, a lot of stuff happens, and me and you talk every day, so it's like...
It does.
It feels long.
Well, I've been here, but we don't usually do guests. We enjoy each other's company. We're very monogamous.
That's true.
And the last 3 weeks we've had guests on, and they've been fun. But it's been a while since it's just been you and I. It's been 4 weeks, and here we are, just us. Right?
Just us.
There's nobody else in the closet with you.
I can't guarantee that. There's a lot of plushies.
Okay,
a lot of plushies.
But yeah, no, I got my son back yesterday.
Did he come back with an extra little mustache? A little extra pep in his step?
He's got a little facial growth kind of in the mustache area, but he didn't come back. He did come back without having showered for the entire 2 weeks. So that's
my God. Good Lord.
Nice present for us. I gave a handful of quarters because they were where they go. There's a quarter machine for the shower, and he didn't use them. He said he would have had to have showered at 5:30 in the morning, and it was really cold, and so he didn't want to do it. And it's okay. I mean, you would think maybe just once, one time, midway through, you don't have to shower for a week, take a shower.
14?
He's 14 years old, so it's,
okay.
But
puberty.
Take a shower, maybe after a week, and then, just the one time. But, I guess he didn't really change his clothes very often. He came back with a lot of clean clothes, and they did not have a laundry. So he was just, for the most part, sleeping, waking up, not really getting dressed. He smelled like bug spray.
But did he make it no big deal, or was he I was kind of shy, embarrassed, or felt uncomfortable doing these things?
He said to us, he goes, I smell. That's one of the first things he said when we saw him. Yeah. I gave him a big hug when I saw him, and then he said, he goes, I kind of stink. And I was like, yep, you kind of do.
Kind of. I feel like as a 14-year-old boy, he must have really stunk.
I don't know how to rate it. I mean, he definitely didn't stink like an adult would stink.
Okay.
But he didn't stink like a 8-year-old would stink. He's just kind of in the middle. So he's still a freshman in high school, I guess. So, but yeah, it was good having him back. And I was a little worried he would be great. I'm home again. Oh, I had some freedom. It was fun for a little while. But he seemed excited to be home. He was so excited to shower. I could hear him in the shower. He went in the shower and he's like, this feels so good. I was like, okay, good. He's normal.
Yeah.
And then he went to bed and he was just like, oh, it's so nice. He slept in late. We made some pancakes in the morning, and then we got some food for the game today. We got some barbecue. So I think he's quite enjoying being in civilization after 13 days camping.
So is that what he was doing? It's camping? Not tent camping, but
tent camping. He was tent camping for 13 days. The last couple days, they on the drive home, they were hitting fast food restaurants just to quick. They didn't want to stop and make food. And he said he had Chipotle, and then they had McDonald's, and then they had something else, and Five Guys. So this big group of kids going in and having a whole bunch. So he wasn't even in the mood to go out to eat or anything today.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's good to have him back. It's, we have all 3 kids in the house. They were all hanging out today, which was unusual. A lot of times my kids lately, they go to their own rooms. They do their own thing. He'll go play PS4 in his room. Sebastian will go downstairs and play Minecraft, and Melody likes to do art. She has her own YouTube channel. And today, they were all hanging out downstairs at one point, and then like I went to Cedric's room, and Melody and Cedric were in there, and it's just like, huh? I was like, wow, they actually
We
excited
missed
to
them.
see each other. Yeah. So
They missed their brother.
that was good to see. And then football happened, and the Broncos are sucky and depressing and pathetic and terrible. And they're dragging the Patriots down with them.
Yeah, I could say the same. The Patriots teased me today. I thought they were going to get a big win, and they blew it.
You got a young quarterback. You got some hope, though. I'll take it.
I know.
How have you
What are you
been?
gonna do? Busy. Life is busy. Hockey every Friday and Saturday.
Aren't you in the middle of a 5-day weekend?
I am in the middle of a 5-day weekend. I have my last golf adventure tomorrow.
Oh, so busy.
Golfing. Yeah, just take the day off, go golfing, and then I'll probably pat the clubs away for the winter, just because it's hockey season. I don't have time to get back out there, but that's okay. It was had a nice long golf season, a lot of fun, played a lot of rounds.
Mm-hmm.
What else have I been up to? I don't know. Just like I said, I've just been so busy doing shit, and trying to do little Halloween stuff here and there with the kids when we can.
Yeah.
But
we got the house all set up with Halloween stuff. I think it was like last week. I was in a funk for much of this week, and I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna go set up the Halloween stuff." I went downstairs and we got the bucket out, and my wife and I were decorating for Halloween. We got some like light up stuff in the windows, and we even decorated the cat's litter box with Halloween like decals.
Did the cat not like that?
I don't think she cared.
Didn't even know.
But I just think it's fun that the litter box is decorated. So
I respect that.
Yeah.
I love a good Halloween decoration.
Yeah, we're getting ready for, and we're gonna go. We didn't trick or treat last year, but we're gonna go trick or treating this year.
Oh yeah, yep, yeah. We will. We went trick or treating last year. Kids are excited to go this year. Evan has been every like Halloween thing we go to. He has like all the Avenger costumes, just because over the years he collects them. Some are a little tight, but yeah. Every time we go somewhere, he dresses as a different Avenger now. So who knows what he's going to be? Today he was dressed up as they were playing outside. He dressed up as Captain America, and he's like a shield, and he was like throwing it at his sister. Oh man, he's intense. He's an intense player. But John, I did not have a chance to talk about my OLED. So really briefly, I did get it. I went and picked it up. It's fantastic. The screen size is a huge difference, right? I think that's one of the big first things I like to see, and then obviously the brightness and very vibrant. But it's funny. I was listening to your Betwitch last week, and you said how for you it was all these new colors and stuff you've never seen before. Then you said you're talking to your buddy who said, "Well, I have an OLED TV, so like I've seen these things before."
Yes,
and I also have an OLED TV, so it's like the same thing. I was like, yeah, like I've seen these things. It's different when you're holding something because you've been playing handheld for the last 4 years, and it's
right.
You're used to it, but yeah. I also today I went and pre-ordered my new Satisfy grip for the OLED.
Oh, okay. You got the OLED model.
The 3rd generation one. It says it's like supposed to not scratch or put anywhere on your Joy-Cons or anything. It's called like float-in technology, they call it. It's supposed to be
that was what the second series was like that. It has the rubber on the insides. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they did fix that in the second one, because there definitely was some, I don't know if it was scratching, but like definitely paint.
It was like worn out. Yeah, it's like
yeah. Yeah, no, that's cool. That's nice.
That's all I really got going on. I believe we have a question before we kick off.
We actually do. Yeah, we do have a question for the show. Let's answer that now. We got a question from Jason Lee, who has a great Twitter name, Lone Bengals Fan. He probably wrote that when they were really, really bad. They're a little better now.
They are better now.
Does anyone in your personal life listen to your show? Do your coworkers or non-gamer friends know that you do a Nintendo podcast?
Great question.
I think I used to advertise on my Facebook every episode we did. And back then it was every 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I would post that we did a show, and that was like the main advertising. That was pretty early on, because I was off Facebook for about a year. I don't do that anymore, just because I don't want to feel like I'm spamming like my friends on Facebook.
Yeah. Yep.
But I don't know if anyone in my family listens. I don't think Michelle listens. I have some friends that listen, and then I have some gamer friends that listen. But when I was posting it on Facebook, I think I had some non-gamer friends, especially ones in New York, that might have just listened just for the fluke of it. But it was probably like one time. I don't think any like I get any regular listeners. How about you?
It's tricky, right? So coworkers. I have a lot of golf memorabilia in my office, so that's a lot of the main focus. But I have like a Shy Guy squishy and something else that's sitting there. But so people know I like Nintendo, but I don't know if I think there might be one or two guys that know I do a Nintendo podcast. I have no shame. I don't hide it. I am not trying to like be like, oh no, I would never do that. I'm proud of our podcast, but at the same time, I have to be careful who I tell because not careful. That's the wrong word. We have a very unique podcast, John. We say a lot of things, inappropriate, appropriate, offensive, whatever you want to call it. So I don't know if like my coworkers might be the best people.
Yeah.
For this, for example, when I did the Disney podcast, like a lot of them knew I did a Disney podcast, which again, I wasn't talking about shaving my balls, so it wasn't a big deal. But
maybe you'd still be doing that podcast if you did, Drew.
Maybe that was the problem. But yeah, no, I mean, for our friends, my wife doesn't listen to it. I do have maybe one or two friends that do listen to it, but a lot of my video game friends are actually in the Discord Nintendo Dad kind of family. So
yeah,
but
yeah, I think we all kind of listen to it. Yeah,
like I said, I'm not ashamed of it at all. It's something that you can't just go to certain people that listen to my Nintendo podcast, because you got to know the audience,
right? And like your Disney podcast, you really didn't talk about your personal life, especially your job, at all.
Yeah.
I don't think. On this show, I've mentioned my job a few times. I've mentioned interviewing and stuff like that. So I never try to push my podcast on anybody.
Absolutely.
So if they are listening, though, they have definite intel on me. But yeah, no, I think it's good. Good question, Jason.
Good question. Should we get started? Because I think we've both been playing a couple video games here, John.
Wait, I think we play video games. I hope we
do.
let's get right to what we've been playing. All right. Well, I'm gonna kick us off, Drew, because I've been playing the obvious one and you haven't. So. The OLED came out October 8th, and everybody, the first thing they did was played Metroid Dread, unless you're Marty and you downloaded all of your video games for a weekend.
God bless you, Marty.
Marty, and then didn't play till Tuesday. But yeah, I was really excited for Metroid Dread. I had gotten the collector's edition. Best Buy had labeled it digital, and it caused so much confusion. But it turned out it was physical. So they just mislabeled it, thankfully. Gotta say, Drew, I did a 30-second review on Metroid Dread.
I never watched it. Fuck.
It's one of my favorite ones.
You know what it was? I think you posted, I was at like a hockey game or something. I was like, oh my God, I gotta watch this later. And then I forgot.
Mid-play, I want you watching it. I want you during the play. Look, nobody's going to be offside.
Mid-play. What happens is when I come in between the periods, I check my phone, and I think that's when I saw it. Damn it, I gotta watch it now.
Yeah, you can watch it. You go watch it while I'm doing this. But it's my game of the year for 2021 as of right now. I wouldn't say, of course. I'm not the biggest Metroid fan. I've had a lot of problem with some of the games, like famously Super Metroid. I get lost in it all the time. I really don't enjoy. I always enjoy Super Metroid for like an hour, and then once I start getting lost, I start to hate it. I did get lost a couple times. One time, really badly in this game. But it just shows you how good of a game it is that it's still my game of the year. Topples Life is Strange True Colors.
Wow.
The only game I think for the rest of the year that can compete would be Advance Wars Reboot Camp. I don't think it'll become my game of the year, but so good. Great mood, great music. And when the game starts, I mean, like when you start the game up, you get like the backstory. It's sort of, no big deal, but they give you a nice little backstory, and then they have kind of the initial story for this game. And then when they kind of really drop you into the game for the first time and you start moving and you're getting this like very smooth 60 frame per second sort of animation, and moving with Samus is so fluid and smooth and nice. And you just like at that moment, I knew I was going to play something special. And then, yeah, just playing the whole game, just the feeling of upgrading is as good as the Metroid formula has ever been. And I had played Zero Mission right before I played this, but it's so satisfying. There's so many upgrades in the game. There's so many missile upgrades to find. It just feels so good. And you also have that mix of Metroidvania, and it might be just my ignorance of Metroid, where sometimes there's like things that are blocking your way, and you don't really know what the upgrade's going to be. Sometimes you know. Sometimes you're like, I'm going to need some kind of double jump. But sometimes you don't know. So there's that in this game too, where it's like, oh, that makes sense. I know where I can use that. There's a pretty good map. Not a perfect map, but pretty good. I just loved it. I got lost. The bosses are hard in this game. They are tricky. But what makes it fun is that when you die to the boss, they basically start you right next to the boss again.
I like that.
If you go into one of the Emmy rooms and those Emmys will like chase you down, it's like a horror game. But if you die in there, you'll start right outside the door. There's never a moment where you feel like you've lost a bunch of progress. So even when you die, you're just like, all right, well, let's give it another try. Final boss was really hard. It took me, I think, easily over an hour.
Wow.
2 different rooms. I started upstairs, ended up downstairs before I finally did it. But yeah, like just what a fantastic game. Definitely a game I'm going to try again. Maybe in the not so distant future, I'm going to just make another run through it. Great game. Just can't recommend it enough. And now my son, Cedric, he came downstairs today to talk about a different game, but he started up Metroid Dread, and he's never played a Metroid game before.
Oh, wow.
So I'm really curious to see. And he goes, is it 3D or just 2D? And I'm like, it's 2D, but I'm telling you, you're going to love it. So he's giving it a try. I finally got to play Doki Doki Literature Club, Drew.
I don't even know what this. I literally have to.
This is like a visual novel. It seems like Literature Club. Like, what's this going to be? There's 4 anime girls, but every warning says, this game is disturbing. If you have problems with depression or something, you might want to, be careful. So, like some crazy shit's going to happen. I was waiting for the physical version to be released for the Switch, and they just kept delaying it.
Yep.
And it actually ended up coming out the same day as Metroid. And so, yeah, a few days later after I finished Metroid, I bought Doki Doki. It's not a long game. And I got to tell you, the first hour and a half, I was going insane, because think about when you say the title Doki Doki Literature Club, what is that kind of game? Even though this game is not what you think it is. For the first hour and a half, it is exactly what it sounds like. You have to write poetry over and over and over. I was going insane. And then as soon as the game sort of turns, the rest of it was like really fascinating. Had really good flow and did some really cool things. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. I think I'll probably play it again down the road. You unlock some stuff. You can change the story a bit based on like what poems you're writing, because basically the poems have different effects on all the girls. So I'll probably give it at least another play in the future. Yeah, it was fun. It's short. If you don't like visual novels, you may not like this, especially because half the game was just straight visual novel. But there's some really crazy stuff that happens, and it's kind of fun to experience. So I guess if I had to recommend this to somebody, it'd say, hey, if you've got a few hours, and it's on sale on the eShop, give it a shot. I wouldn't, if you're not into this kind of game, I wouldn't spend the money on a physical version, so I'll just leave it at that. But yeah, try to go in blind. And yeah, it was a pretty good time. And then I played Horizon Zero Dawn.
Cheater.
While my son was away, I had mentioned I was going to steal his PS4. I did. And I think it took me about 10 days to get through. It's not a long game. So this game got compared to Breath of the Wild, because I think it came out a week before Breath of the Wild. It was all the same time frame. And they're going to both release their sequels in the same year. This sequel for this game comes out, I think, in January of 2022. And that's the same year as Breath of the Wild. And I've always wanted to play it because we had We had a guy in our gaming group who he became the biggest grump. He was a big Zelda fan, but he kept bitching about Breath of the Wild. And he's like, there's nothing to do and the world is so empty. And we'd be like, what are you talking about? This game is great. And there's anywhere you go in Breath of the Wild, there's something to find. But he like really raved about this one. And eventually he became such a big pain in the ass over it. It was bizarre. We would joke about it. Horizon Zero Dawn, that's the one. So I really wanted to play this one, and I got my chance. And one of the other big reasons I wanted to play it is the voice actress who plays Aloy in the game is the same one who plays Chloe in Life is Strange. So, of course,
that's why
I need to play it. I mean, it really was one of the biggest reasons.
It looks great. It looks cool.
It looks great. And it's like, big open world and whatever. So let's give it a shot. I'll say this up front. I completely acknowledge this game is crafted pretty well. It was enjoyable in many places. Great voice acting, of course, Chloe. I didn't like it. Honest opinion. I didn't like it. And it's not console war thing, nothing like that. I have a PS4 for a reason. I enjoy many games on it. I didn't like it. And I'll tell you why. This game got endlessly compared to Breath of the Wild, but anybody who's played both of them really knows that they're different games. Breath of the Wild is sort of a isolationist nature experience, right? You don't have much music or anything. You are alone in this world. This game was very close to Witcher 3, and you've played Witcher 3. You played it until you banged.
So I won.
The redhead, yeah.
I won.
You didn't play it to completion, but you know what Witcher 3 is about. This game is very much like Witcher 3. Do you remember in Witcher 3 when they would have those moments in the game where you had to like find a person who committed a crime and you would use your Witcher senses and you would follow a trail and like track somebody down, and then you'd find clues and you'd investigate them? Like that, this game has that. This game completely rips off The Witcher. It was absurd. It was like, this is The Witcher. And then they also brought in elements of Tomb Raider. A lot of like wall climbing, wall scaling, that sort of thing. Plus the fact that her primary weapon is bow and arrow. I wouldn't say that rips off Tomb Raider. I'm just saying it just happened to be. But the game there's parts of the game where you are running from something and you're doing the jumps and the climbing and all that stuff. So like Uncharted, Tomb Raider, we've seen it. So that was what I would compare this game more to, like a Witcher type game. If you like The Witcher and that style and genre, you would like this. But some of the reasons I didn't like it, I felt like my health was always getting low. The way you can refill your health, you have to get these little plant herbs. I was constantly having to scrape to get some plant herbs.
I hate when you're scraping just for like health potions or something.
Yeah, I'm just like, I always felt like I was barely clinging to life. There's nowhere to really go. I think you can sleep in a bed, but for the most part, there was nowhere you can go where you just refill your health. Like other games where you just go to an inn or something like that. This game, for the most part, you had to just sustain yourself the whole game. I never felt very powerful. You had to fight, mostly you fight these mechanical animals. Take that, Marilyn. These little mechanical animals, and then there would be some people. But there was very little variety in those fights. There was like maybe 6 or 7 different types of animals. And then they're like the people, God, it was like almost the same people. It's maybe a couple. Some guys had like these little green fluid bombs on their back that you would shoot and they would blow up. But yeah, like there was a lot of like constant combat. I got to fight the animals again. I got to go to combat. And I only did a few side quests, and that was a big problem with myself in the game, that I didn't do a lot of side quests, so I probably wasn't as powerful as I should be. But like, yeah, they were really boring. It was just like, go here, go here, go here, there. I did the main quests a lot of times, and it was a big world. A lot of time, most of the time when I had to go to the next place, it was all the way across the whole world. So you either had to find an animal to ride on, which I could never do, or you had to just run. They have warping, like Breath of the Wild, where you can warp at any given point, but you have to use a kit to warp. So you had to make sure you had those supplies. I was talking to my son earlier today, and he said there's
Hmm.
one place where they sell an unlimited supply. And I was like, oh, I wish I had found that. But for the most part, you had to buy the individual supplies. So sometimes you wanted to do the warp and you couldn't even do it. Like they wouldn't let you because you needed the supply. So yeah, I just felt like I was constantly just doing the same thing over and over again, fighting these animals and going. And I thought the world was really empty, honestly. And when I would go from one end of the world to the other, I would really not run into anything. It felt empty. That's it. And they're also, because the game had the Tomb Raider elements where you're doing the climbing. The way you did the climbing for the most part was you could find the little white edges, which is like the de facto way they do these games, or these little yellow spots on the wall. And I found it really hard to find the yellow spots sometimes. Visually, I just had a hard time like locating them. And earlier in the game, I had trouble. You have this character who's like your father, who is tutorializing in the beginning parts of the game. And he would like go somewhere and say, Aloy, come over here. Aloy, throw this rock over here. I literally was sitting there like, where is he? I couldn't find him. And it was like, where is he? So I had a lot of trouble with that. It was just like lots of little things. There's no puzzles in the game like Breath of the Wild or the Legend of Zelda series. And it doesn't have to be. The Witcher didn't really have puzzles either. But you felt like there should be. They had these little you have to turn this power generator on. So you have to turn these 4 knobs in the right direction. And it was always like, look at the side of the wall and it tells you which direction and you just do it. So it's like, it was trying to be a puzzle, but it wasn't very good at it. And then one time they did the map and they just turned it upside down. So you did it and it didn't work. And then you realize the map was upside down. And it's like, that was the most difficult one. So it was really lacking in there. I will say for myself, if I would have spent more time grinding and side questing, I might have felt a little more powerful. But by the last 15% of this game, I would say, I actually turned the difficulty from normal, not just to easy, Drew. I turned it to story mode.
Wait, what?
I turned the difficulty to story mode.
I don't even know what that means.
It basically means I was practically invincible. If I got hit by something, I usually lost the tiniest bit of health. So I could be killed, technically. And I was very powerful. So I could take down big robots by hitting them with my spear a few times, and I was good to go.
You just wanted to finish the game at this point.
It was the last 15%. I had actually, midway through the game, quit the game. I took the PS4 and I brought it back to my son's room for like 2 hours. And then I started feeling bad about myself. And so I went back upstairs and took it back downstairs and set it up again on my TV. So yeah, by the end, I really did want to see the end of the story. I thought it had an interesting story. And the combat was just getting frustrating. And it's one of those games too, where when you do combat, you have to think to yourself, am I just wasting arrows that I need to craft? Am I losing health? Am I losing health that I have to go then find flowers so that I can regenerate my health? And I would just end up mostly running past the animals. If I didn't need to battle something, I, for the most part, just didn't. And though we've seen games like that, some of the Paper Mario games are like that too, where you're like, am I going to waste 10 minutes on this battle? What am I going to get out of it? Am I going to use these cards to attack people in Sticker Star? Or am I just going to run past these guys? Those are the worst kind of games, because battling should be fun and it should be something you want to do. Get supplies and all that stuff. But the characters were good in the game. I like this genre. I like, if you like The Witcher, Red Dead Redemption, even I would say Breath of the Wild, just from an open world point of view, but doesn't feel like it. If you like those kinds of games, you'll like this game. It's a very pretty game. Yeah, that's it. So I don't think I would play it again. I don't think I'm interested in the sequel. But if I ever had a PS5 in my room, I'd probably convince myself to play it again. And try to like be more completionist about it and see if I have a better experience.
You don't have to, John. It's okay. You don't have to do that.
I like this genre. I like The Witcher. I've played that multiple times. I liked Red Dead Redemption to a point, and I actually want to play Red Dead 2. I just like this genre, and there's not a lot of games in this genre because these are quadruple A titles.
Did you play Skyrim or no?
I did play Skyrim. I don't enjoy Skyrim for the most
part.
I don't
either.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just older. I mean, don't get me wrong. For the time, it was amazing, but
it is.
I played it too late in the game.
The thing about Skyrim that drives me crazy is there's cups and forks and knives. There's all these like tiny things that are constantly there, and it's like, why can't I pick these up? I don't understand.
It's just too much.
Yeah. So I am super happy I have finally played Horizon Zero Dawn. I feel like it's filled in some knowledge. I think a lot of people really love the game, and I can see totally why they do. So I'm not going to fault this game or say it's bad at all. It just didn't really connect with me, unfortunately. Luckily it's only about 20 to 5 hours to do the main stuff. It's not as long as like a Breath of the Wild or something. 2 more games I have just started in the last 2 or 3 days. My Game Pass expires in 10 days. I am doing the thing where I'm going to start rolling my services. I actually canceled my Game Pass, my Disney Plus, and I'm canceling. What's the other one I canceled? Oh, Apple Arcade.
Wow.
I'm going to cancel HBO Max once the kids finish watching Adventure Time. But yeah. And so Game Pass, I've canceled for the rest of the year because there's not a lot on it that I've really been interested in lately. I've played so much of it. But also I have some games that I own that I want to play. And so now's the time. And I do want to play Red Dead 2, which I don't own yet. Twin Mirror. I might play Cyberpunk, or at least give that another fair shot. Just games like that. Games that I own that I want to play through. So I'm going to do that probably for the rest of the year. But as my last hurrah, I started playing Marvel's Avengers a couple nights ago. The funny part about Marvel's Avengers, I distinctly remember walking to work and listening to a podcast and checking my Twitter and seeing that it had been delayed. And I said to myself, it probably got delayed because it's not a fun game and they're trying to fix it. I had no interest in this game. I don't really care much about Marvel. But I had downloaded it just for fun because I knew it was a expensive game and it was free on Game Pass. And I learned of watching a little trailer. I was like, oh, this is made by Crystal Dynamics. This is the people that made the Tomb Raider trilogy. And I'm like, wait a minute.
That sucks you in. That's like your Life is Strange, Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
Well, literally every game you played on your list has a reference back to one of those 2 series.
Well, if you play a great game, especially by a niche studio, like if it's a great Nintendo game, it doesn't mean if you like Mario, you like Metroid. Well,
I mean, the voice actor drew into the other one, John.
Exactly. But
so my point is,
in this case, Crystal Dynamics made the Tomb Raider trilogy is amazing. And I looked at some footage and it's like, oh my God, this isn't like just a Marvel game. This is like cool. So anyway, so you actually start.
It's cool.
So I started playing it. You start as like a 14-year-old girl named Kamala Khan. And I don't know if I want to ruin it or anything. I didn't know it when I started it, but it is common knowledge among Marvel fans. Kamala Khan is Ms. Marvel. But she's like this young Muslim girl. And it's really cool to see that sort of representation in a game, that this is a Marvel game. And instead of getting, a standard white character, a boy or girl, whatever, it's like, wow, like when have you played a game with like a Muslim girl or Indian girl or something in the game? So I was immediately interested in it. And you start off as her, but then at some point you transition into using the Avengers. You actually go through all of them, like Thor, Captain America, Incredible Hulk, Iron Man. So it's pretty cool. It's like they all have different control styles. And then you're back as her like 4 years later. I won't get into the story because I don't want to spoil it, but there's a little bit of a time jump. And then 4 years later, you're her. And you are still rotating between various Marvel characters and her. But I find it really fascinating. And it feels like Tomb Raider. It feels a lot like Jedi Fallen Order. But yeah, like if you like those kinds of games, you'll love this. I've had a blast with it. I'm shocked. I all I heard from people was, oh, it's not very good, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of episodic too. So I don't even know how long this episode is. But remember, they did the Black
the Black
Panther.
Panther one. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
And I can play the Black Panther one. So I'm going to try to squeeze that in after this if I can.
So is this one just kind of generic over like?
This is like the first one. It's about the Avengers and Ms. Marvel. There's like, I think there's 3 other episodes, and then there's or maybe there's 2 other episodes, and then there is the Black Panther. But I honestly, I don't know anything about the other episodes. I don't know how long they are.
Are they independent, or you kind of have to play them in order?
I think they're fairly independent, but I might be wrong, because there is a skill tree in this game. Okay. And it's not a huge skill tree, but it's there. So I'd like to think that it'll progress you, but I really don't care either way. If they cut it off and just start a whole new story, then fine. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm having fun with it. I'll play it for the next 10 days. It's my last Game Pass game. So I've had fun with it. I'm surprised. That's not a final review. I'll talk about it just a bit more later.
Quick dumb question with Game Pass. Are you downloading these games, or are they cloud?
Yeah, you download them.
So when you download them and your Game Pass expires, do you get like an extra 7 days or something? I'm thinking like the NSO type stuff. How does it know though? It checks daily?
It's more like a Nintendo Switch when you have a second one. It'll check in. It'll check in with the server.
But it's checking daily, you're saying? It doesn't
check.
No,
when you launch the game, it hits the server, make sure your Game Pass right, and you're locked out of it once your Game Pass expires.
So you can't play these games without internet?
That's a good question. I've never gone without internet. I would imagine you can't. Okay. I don't know. It's a home console. It's not portable. It's never really a problem.
That's a good point.
Next time I'll turn my internet off and see if it works sometime.
I mean that's a valid point. It's not the Switch.
But no, I'm gonna finish. I'm gonna play this one for the next 10 days or so, and then that'll be my last hurrah, and then I'll start playing some of the games I own. But yeah, no, I've had a very surprisingly good time with it. I just kind of assumed this was a terrible game, and I was like, oh no, I don't know why yet people don't like it. But I need to play through it. I don't want to say this game's great because I played I'm 3 hours, 4 hours in.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that. Like there might be something really wrong with this game. So we'll see. But I've enjoyed it a lot so far. And then a couple days ago, I restarted Breath of the Wild. I didn't have anything to play on my Switch. You didn't offer me anything.
I offered you plenty. Don't give me that bullshit.
Your Halloween games. Just
Halloween
for fun.
time.
I know. And Doki Doki kind of became my Halloween game. But yeah, I just decided, let me just play 10 minutes of Breath of the Wild and see if I'm sick. Because when in my head, I'm thinking, I don't want to play through that whole game again. It's so long. And I started playing it. I was like, I'm having fun. And I'm off the Great Plateau. I made it to that first village, Kakiro village. And it's like, yeah. Oh, I just made it to the lab. Which is pretty cool because I kind of forgot about the characters at the lab until Age of Calamity. And now I'm seeing this girl and I now know that this is 100 years after. And she did the thing with she's all like, hey, and she does the little peace signs and all that. And it's like, oh yeah, I get that now. I don't know how Nick was asking me about this today. I don't know how long I'm going to be playing this game. I might hit a point where I'm just like, I don't want to do this shit again. But I've just been playing it. I'm enjoying it on the OLED screen. I've just been playing it again. I only did about half the side quests when I played the first time, and I was always fascinated by which side quests I had missed out on.
You didn't do all the shrines? The shrines?
I did all the shrines after I beat the game, and I just basically printed a map off the internet to find them.
Yeah,
and that was fine.
Yeah,
I don't need to do all the shrines in this game. I did want to try to do more of the side quests because there's stories that I just missed out on because I was skipping them.
Terrytown, whatever the hell
it's
called.
And that's one where I'm like, I got to do that again. Shit. And I kind of want to try to get all the Korok seeds, but I just know that realistically, I'm going to get bored.
Did you delete your old save file?
You have to. I deleted it, and I kind of nervous about that, but you have to delete your save file when you start a new game, which is how
Mm.
some people lost their save files. Remember those stories where people like, my kid deleted my save file.
Mm.
I thought about making a profile, and I'm like, no. I don't really need the save file. The game is done.
No,
What's the
you don't.
difference?
You beat it. Yep.
But I do have the DLC, so I'm trying to get the Korok hat as fast as possible, so I can just keep that on the whole game
Mm.
to
You didn't get
find
the
more
motorcycle?
seeds.
I forget how do you get it? I forget how you
So
even get it.
you have to finish one of those DLC missions.
Yeah, I forget.
I think it was the second one, but you can't do that mission until you beat the game. Because I was thinking the same thing as you. Let me go
Oh,
get the motorcycle quickly,
yeah.
and so I can use it. But you can't. You got to beat the game in order
Which
to
is
get the
stupid.
motorcycle.
You don't need it if you beat the game.
I know. So, yeah, I don't know how long I'm playing it, but for right now, I'm just playing it. I'm not going to play it exclusively. I'm going to still sneak in some Slay the Spire. But Pokemon comes out a month from today, I think. But
Close, 19th, the 19th.
Okay, so I don't really have anything I'm interested in. Maybe I'll sneak in another playthrough of Dread, but yeah. So in 2 weeks we'll see if I'm still playing Breath of the Wild. I'll give a more fuller review of Marvel's Avengers, but that's I've taken enough time. What have you been playing?
I've been playing a few. Everyone knows I've been playing Diablo 2, John.
Have you been playing it?
Well, Diablo 2 has a lot of issues, and not happy. I'm going to be honest. So I played this game way back in the day. I don't even know what year this game came out, but I played it back in the day on the PC. It was so much fun back then. The beauty of Diablo 2 is they don't, there's 5 acts. Each act gives you about 6 quests you have to, or missions you need to complete. And the fun thing about Diablo 2 is it's all about exploring the world and the environment and going into these little mini dungeons, and you don't really have a set of direction, right, for the quests and missions. It doesn't really like show you on the mini map where to go. You kind of have to read into it. Some of them are pretty simple, some of them are very hard to find. So the whole point is exploring and doing that stuff, um, which is okay, which is fine. It's not as fun when you're doing it solo, but like you said, John, my problem I've had is with the servers. I've probably put in 20 to 25 hours, maybe 30, I don't know, around there, hours in. But I bet you, I don't know, I want to say 40, maybe 50% of every time I go to play this game, I have server issues. Um,
Yeah.
I haven't played all weekend. I haven't played all weekend. I've tried probably 3 or 4 times, and the servers are down. And the problem with this game is when you boot up the game, I'm all over the place here, but when you boot up the game, you have an option, right? You can create an online character or an offline character. And the problem is when you create an offline character, it's fine. You don't need to have the servers to work, right? So you don't need the internet at all to really play, which is fine. But what if you want to play online at some point? Once you create that character can never play online with other people. So I like playing the online character. You can play solo the entire time. But if you
Hmm.
have trouble with a boss or something, you can try to find a random person or a friend, and they can come on, and now you can play the boss together.
Hmm.
Um, and even more so, if you've never played a Diablo game, Diablo really starts when you beat the game, right? You beat the game, and then that's when the game starts. Because you do all these, you refight the bosses, and you do Hell mode, and you do Inferno mode, and you do all these other modes, and you level up your characters, you continue to get your skill points. So, like, that's when it really starts. So, if you were to play offline character, you kind of lose a lot of that stuff. You're not going to really be able to beat final bosses by yourself on Hell mode. It's going to be challenging. So I'm with the online character, and it backfired drastically, and it sucks. The other thing I did was I created a necromancer, which is a fun character, which was a lot of fun. I've never really played one in Diablo 2. I've always wanted to. But the problem is with the necromancer, you focus on raising skeletons. You get a golem. You're raising the dead, and that's your army. But you're kind of weak, right? You don't really have many spells. Um, your melee combat is pretty much useless. So I dominate when I do like my every mission, my quest. But when I fight like a end of an act boss, like I really struggle. And like
There's
I
a
can't
big difficulty spike.
it's a huge difficulty spike because what happens is if they kill your little army of skeletons, You don't have anything else. There's no more dead bodies to resurrect. You have to resurrect a skeleton from a dead monster.
Yeah.
There's no monsters in this room. It's just one boss. So
One guy.
I really, really struggled. One of them, it took me 45 minutes. I just tried it in a circle, and I kept like, wanding them pretty much doing. And then I had to get a couple online matches. The other problem with Diablo is I hate is when you do online matches or online help, they're not matches. Every item that drops is for any player that picks it up in Diablo.
Oh.
So
So
like
people can like hog it.
yeah, so when we like and I didn't know that at first. So when we fought a monster, we were fighting Diablo, it dropped like 2 green items and the other guys picked it up before I even had a chance to read what it was.
Wow. Dicks.
So that kind of sucks. Yeah, because if it's like a necromancer wand, like why would they need it, you know? So there's some problems there. The graphics, here's the problem. Anyone that's played Diablo 3 first on a console, it looks spectacular. So Diablo 2, the cutscenes, amazing. Absolutely amazing. But the actual game itself still has that PC feel and look to it.
Mm-hmm.
The menu screen still has like, it just feels awful with your, like almost like the mouse movement with your joystick to move stuff around. Inventory management is brutal. If you ever played a Diablo game, you'll know it. It's just, there's a lot of problems. I'm going to be blunt. I don't recommend this game. I really don't. And I love Diablo, and you know that. I have 2 quests left, 2 missions in the last act. I've been trying to play it for the last 3 or 4 days. I'm going to finish it. I'm going to finish the last 2 quests. I was hoping to do it before tonight, and then I'm done. I'm not going to go do the after, stuff. It's just I was going to create a whole other character. It's my feeling is if I want to play Diablo, I'm going to go play Diablo 3. It's just that much better. It's like night and day better. So I honestly don't recommend this. If anyone is interested in Diablo, just go Diablo 3. It's a great game. John and I have played hundreds of hours.
Mm-hmm.
It's an amazing game. Diablo 2 feels like a 20-year-old game. It's just that's what it is. And it you can see it, you notice it, it's just clunky. It's smooth. Don't be wrong. It's very smooth. It's just you can feel that little bit of clunkiness from like the menu items and then stuff like that. But
I
the
can
movement
see it.
is fine.
Yeah, when I see footage of it, I definitely see
Yep.
it. I know exactly what you're talking about. That would be a great topic. Games that you played a ton of, but you don't recommend it. Because that happens to me all the time. I'm playing a game and I'm like, I'm extracting some weird joy out of it, but I would never tell somebody to play it.
Yeah, and it's not that it's like I hate it because I love these types of games. Just like you talked about the open world Breath of the Wild type games. I love these types of games. It's just, and I love Diablo. I can't do it. Why are you deleting my stuff?
This is behind the scenes, man. Don't tell people how the sausage is made.
Well, I'm trying to read my next game and now it's gone.
It's not gone. You got to scroll down in the notes, my friend.
So
do you not remember what you played?
Oh, I
How
remember.
scripted are you, Drew?
So last night I joined the Nintendo Dads community. Actually, my wife and I joined the Nintendo Dads community. We played Jetbots Party 8. What a blast. What a lot of fun. We played 3 games. Don't ask me to remember them all, but it was a fun game. I think I convinced the wife maybe to get one of these party games. I have to, talk to you guys, see which one you guys recommend the most. So if someone recommends one of the 8 games or whatever, let me know which one? 3?
Jackbox 3.
So yeah, I think this would be a great thing. I could probably, get my friends, try to like 8, 6 other couples to play, and great game.
Yeah, Jackbox is really fun. You need the right mix of people. I've had we've had parties at home where we just have a blast. Like we back in the old days, right, in the previous world, we had like Jackbox parties, total blast. And then the next time we had one, had a different mix of people, and it was just quiet and awkward and weird. Like you just need the right mix of people. That's like one of the bigger challenges of it. If you can get that, great. And if you can play with your kids, God bless you, because usually the jokes get dirty. That's when it gets the most fun.
But you know what, this might be even a fun time for, like, I'm thinking like if you go out to a restaurant with a couple of your buddies for beers and stuff, this would be like the one time I'd bring a Switch. I think in tabletop mode.
Where are you bringing it? Like someone's house or?
No, like what if you like went to like a restaurant for some beers and sat at a table? No,
that would be tricky. I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways,
Maybe right. Yeah.
The next game I played is one of John's favorites of all time. Because listen, I try to play these shitty games, guys. If it wasn't for
Someone's
me
gonna do it.
playing these games, they wouldn't exist, and that's why I'm here. So
Which
actually, I
shitty
did some
game is it
research
this week, Drew?
before I bought this game. It actually had some really good reviews. I
Mm.
think it was like 8 out of 10 on Steam and stuff, so it was decent reviews.
Mm.
Halloween Forever.
Oh,
So
fuck.
what was happening was I gave John like 4 or 5 Halloween games. I was like, oh, look at all these games we would do from monthly Mayhem. We'll get to it soon. And he was like, these games are shit, Drew. They're shit. And I said, well, I'm going to play one. So Halloween Forever is a fun game. It's similar. It's a side-scrolling, pixelated type game, maybe like a 16-bit. And it's it reminded me a lot of like Ghosts and Goblins in a way where it's a side scroller game. You go through some levels, but it also goes back to like that main menu. It has like the same type of map. Remember between levels, and it shows your progress
Mm-hmm.
through the map. But you have unlockable characters, which are really fun. I think there's like 16 characters. I've only unlocked like 5 of them, and each one actually has a unique way it shoots. So it's very basic. You get the game starts you off with a jump and a double jump, so you can do double jumps, and
Double
then you
jump right from the beginning?
double jump. No unlocking.
What?
Your character can double jump and it shoots. Some of the characters kind of like like throw a bone out of its mouth, while some of the other characters you unlock will shoot like a laser beam. Some of them throw bombs. It's a little bit different things. There's 6 runes that you can find throughout the game, which if you collect all 6, you get a special ending for that character. So every character has 2 endings. One if you
What?
don't collect all the runes, and one if you collect them. And let's just say the first time I played, I took a screenshot. I collected only 5 runes, and it's pretty much just like, you beat Halloween Forever. Great job. And that was it. And like if you collect all 6, I played again. I did all 6 of them, and it's like a 6 screen. Like it kind of actually concludes a little bit of story on why the game happened. So it was kind of a big difference. Uh, it's a basic platformer. It's a lot of fun. It's very Halloween themed with the types of characters you're fighting. Um, it's just they do have
Can I
some.
point out that when you beat it, it says thank you for playing and happy Halloween forever, which is weird. Is that and supposed to be there, or are they telling you happy Halloween forever? Like, shouldn't it say thank you for playing happy Halloween forever? What's the name of the game?
Halloween Forever.
Oh, so they are saying happy Halloween. That's so bizarre. Okay, go on.
So there's some cheap tricks from a platformer point of view where, like for example, if you're going down, right? So if you're dropping down a ledge, you dirty bastard. If you're dropping down off a ledge, like you can't see the bottom, right? And at the bottom, there's some areas with spikes, and there's some that's not.
No.
So you don't know if you're going to fall in the spikes or not.
Fucking yeah.
And then there's like these swamp type looking guys, but the problem is they're so high up, they're off the screen. So like you can't even see them and try to judge them.
Great.
So there's little stuff like that, but overall, the game takes maybe an hour to an hour and a half to play through it. If there's some, and then I'd say the follow-on playthroughs with new characters take maybe like 40 minutes because now where to go, maybe in the levels and whatnot. But I really enjoyed it. I played through it 3 times so far. I played through with a pumpkin guy, some goblin conehead looking guy, and a robot. You can.
Didn't you say you can be Santa?
You can. So you start off with like a pumpkin guy, like a pumpkin head, jack-o'-lantern, and Santa. And Santa throws presents at the bad guys, and I don't know, pumpkin guys throws like candy corn. But yeah, it's fun. I think it's $8 right now, $8, and like I said, I played through it a few times, so it's fun.
It's going to go on sale on November 1st. Everybody, just wait.
It's on sale right now. Actually,
I think
it's $10. It's on sale for $8.
It's going to be like $1 on November 1st.
And the last game, I haven't actually played it yet. I bought it today. This has been on my wish list for a while. Really, probably for my wife more than anybody. But Monster Boy and the Cursed Kingdom. It's a $40 game. It's on sale for $10. So I've been kind of keeping an eye on it. It's something I think me and my wife will play together. And more to come. Probably next week I'll talk about that one.
I'm trying to see if I have that one.
Yeah, like I said, I've been it looks fantastic visually. I think, but it's kind of a throwback to the old Sega game, I believe, isn't it?
I think so. Oh yeah, I got it. There you go.
Have you played it?
No, I think my wife might have. She played one of them, either Wonder Boy or one of them, but she did. And I think I got the other one because she had played the first one. But yeah, I think they're supposed to be pretty good. So
yeah, they are supposed to be good. So I'll play this one with my wife. It'll be fun.
Sweet.
But that's it. Halloween Forever. I recommend it. If you want a little Halloween game, you can play it in a nice like Saturday, Sunday morning while you're having your cup of coffee because Diablo servers are usually down then. So it's a perfect game for that.
How does Blizzard fuck this up? Blizzard has been doing these servers for decades.
Listen, this is what happens. Saturday morning, right? I love waking up on a nice Saturday morning in the fall with the window open, get a nice hot cup of coffee, and I usually sit on my lazy boy and I play my Switch. That's what I do. So I was like, oh, great. I got 2 quests left. Saturday morning, I'm going to play Diablo. I open it up, can't fucking play. So that's when I bought Halloween Forever. Anyways, the whole day goes by. I had a hockey game. I come back. I'm like, man, I'm going to go home. I'm going to have a beer because I just and play Diablo and finish it off. I sit on my couch. It's like 9 p.m. Fucking servers are still down. I said, that's bullshit. So I was like, Sunday morning today, let me wake up. Let me try this sucker again. 7 a.m., windows open, make myself a cup of coffee, servers down. Fuck this game. I was so frustrated. I played Halloween Forever again. It's like, I don't know, John. I don't know.
Yeah, that sucks. Yeah, it really makes you feel like don't play a Blizzard game at launch.
It's awful. I'm so over it. Like I can't fathom how ridiculous it is. But anyways,
I feel your frustration there. All right. Well, what do you say before we get into our top 8? We need to talk about.
We need to talk about
shaving needs.
Yeah, it's time to end the days of shaving your balls and ending up looking like a horror movie, folks. At Manscaped, they have the perfect package to get this done. John and I, we've been testing, prototyping all these lovely packages into all of these lovely products, and it's it. So, what's our code? Our code is over at NINDADS, NINDADS, where you can join 2 million men worldwide by using Manscaped at manscaped.com and get 20% off and free shipping. To never forget the free shipping. Again, use code NINDADS, NINDADS. Continue to use this. I actually used it the other day. And
did you get a haircut?
I did. I
did.
I did a haircut, and then I come home and I manscaped. That's what I do. It makes it.
Do you tell the hairdresser that that's what you do? You're like, oh. Ooh.
So here's the problem. I've been cheating on my hairdresser, and I feel bad because she's hot and I miss her. And I've been going to this other place, and I get this fat chick, and I'm not happy about it. But I mean, and I love. So here's the problem too. They always ask if you want the hot towel after. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I want the hot towel. And the hot chick always like rubs. It's just like the ASMR shit. She rubs like your neck and behind your ears, and it like tingles. She does it this nice feeling. The fat chick like gropes me and like strangles me, and I'm like, ow! Like, what do you like?
So why are you cheating? What is the reasoning?
Because she's so like. So here's what happened. She used to work at the salon. There was drama. She left, and now she is renting out another salon, and she only goes there like Wednesdays and Saturdays. Now that school started with my daughter, I can't really get there, and I'm not going to drive all the way near my work on a Saturday. So I've been cheating, but I need to get back to her because I miss her.
Wow.
Tough life. Manscaped. Go buy yourself some nice items there.
All right. Let's go to the top 8 here and see what's going on.
Number 8.
Number 8.
All right. We have the final fighter in Smash, and it is Sora. Such a popular character. I sent a picture to my wife who was bringing the kids to school, and she said, "Who is that?" And so I said, "Oh, from Kingdom Hearts." And then when Cedric got back from his trip, he goes, "Oh, who was the final Smash character?" And I said, "Sora from Kingdom Hearts." And he goes, "Oh."
But overall, the reception's been pretty good, right?
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of fans seem to be happy with it, which I was Hey, if
It's
they're happy,
fine.
I'm happy, I guess. I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's fine. I like the Disney sort of tie in there. I would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen more Disney in the trailer. It seems like they're pulling like all the characters out. So except for the Mickey logo,
Mm.
there was no other like reminder of Disney, which is really weird because you think Disney would be like, "Hey, we love you, good Nintendo. Let's work together." So that was a
I
little
know.
weird.
I mean,
But
Nintendo is the perfect video game console for Disney. It's like
yeah,
they go hand in hand. I mean, I agree.
I mean, it's a fighting game, but it's a pretty innocent one. I don't know. It's not like there's fatalities going on.
Finish
Um,
him.
we also got news that there was going to be a Steve and Alex amiibo, to which my son had said, "Well, why wouldn't there be?" And I said, "Well,
Good point.
smartass, we didn't know. We thought maybe we'd just get Steve, but we're getting Steve and Alex, so that's cool. Be a little 2-pack." We got a Doomslayer me costume, which is cool because a lot of people wanted Doomslayer in
Mm.
Smash, but they got the me costume. And we also got the announcement that all the Kingdom Hearts games, or maybe just the three, but
Mm.
are
3
coming
of them.
to the Cloud Edition,
Yes.
which was disappointing. I haven't played a Kingdom Hearts game. I almost played it. They had all three on Game Pass. Right now, they just have the third one on Game Pass, which of course I'm not going to play. But I will admit, having Sora in Smash has gotten me interested in at least trying Kingdom Hearts. So it is on my wish list for Xbox, and I might play it, during my Game Pass hiatus.
Is it just like a hack and slash exploration puzzle? Like, is it like a Zelda in a way?
I think it's kind of card basey. I haven't played it.
Really?
Yeah, no, it's an RPG, and it's like a turn-based thing.
Oh, it's turn-based.
Yeah, but
Oh, I didn't know that.
I can't give you any more information, and I won't even guarantee you I'm not wrong on something.
Mm.
But yeah, there's a pretty good chance I'll play it during my Game Pass hiatus.
I might pick this up. We don't have pricing or anything, do we?
I don't know, but we just know that it's a cloud-based version. We don't have a release date either.
Yeah, that doesn't really bother me too much.
Didn't you play? You didn't play Control. Did you play any other cloud-based games on Switch?
No, I said I was considering Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, right, and that's coming out soon. Okay, are you gonna?
Correct. Play that? Well, probably not, because it's like 3 days before Mario Party.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that doesn't mean I don't know, because Mario Party is not something I'm going to be playing like until you beat it. So I maybe I will pick it up.
Yeah. Okay.
I don't know. If it's $60. I don't know if I want to pay $60 for that.
They're
game.
usually not, but maybe this will. It's a new game, so maybe
I know.
it will be.
Yeah. I have to look into it more.
Okay. Yeah. So I mean, like, I don't know how strongly you feel about this. Is there any like now that we're done? Is there like, are you sad that a certain character didn't get in? Because I'm still a little cheesed that Lara Croft didn't make it in. I think she's the most famous video game character that's not in Smash.
Wow.
So
I mean, no, I played the game. I beat the story mode. I thought it was well done. It was fun. I mean, these games just get super boring for me, and I'm not good at them. I suck at them, so that doesn't help at all.
Yeah,
I'm a button masher.
We generally play whenever a new character comes out, and then stop. And then we'll play when we have company over, which is few and far between now.
The last time I played, Piranha Plant was not out yet.
Oh my God! What? So that's the entirety of the DLC.
Yeah, never touched it again.
Wow. Okay. No, you did, because we played and I kicked your ass with Mithra and Pyra.
Oh, you're right. I played a night. I played a community night. I had to boot it up. You're right. I did. You're right. But that was it. Like I just went on. I played with you guys. I think I jammed some buttons.
So you're saying that we're not gonna have a topic of who's your favorite? Like, let's rank the DLC characters. Like, we're not doing that.
I mean, I can do it from like a favorite character point of view, but it has nothing to do with Smash.
I will say Mithra Pyra was my favorite DLC character because
I'll tell you what. Why don't you do that as a Betwits?
I don't like Smash that much either.
Well, then don't.
I don't play it that often. But yeah, Mithra and Pyra I've really enjoyed. That's been my favorite character. But yeah,
hot?
I'm a little sad. No, because you can switch between them really quickly during the match, which I think is really fun. And Mithra is very fast and Pyra is very powerful. And I just love Like you can literally switch between them as you're falling back down, and I like changing the strategy, and they're kind of easy to use. And I like Xenoblade, so I enjoy those
I love
characters
Xenoblade.
already.
When's the next Xenoblade coming? That's what we need.
I don't know. Maybe I might have to replay Xenoblade 2 again. I could see myself replaying 2. It's been a while.
Really?
Yeah.
I can't play those games again. I played the shit out of it, and I
Yeah.
loved it.
They're long.
Some games are just meant to be played once.
You're probably right. The side
Breath of the
quests I thought
Wild.
were pretty boring too, but yeah. So
Yeah,
what do you
side
think?
quests are boring.
So what do you think the future of Smash is? Like so
That's a
Ultimate's
great
done.
question.
We are clearly not going to get another Smash on this Switch platform. That would be ridiculous. So the next console comes out. Will Smash be on it, and will it look the way it does, or what do you think?
That is a great question. You even look at like Mario Party 8. Like we don't even know what the next Mario Party looks like. I mean, I'm sorry, Mario Kart. Then Mario Kart. We don't even know what the next Mario Kart looks like because they probably are the same situation. Like we perfected a game. What do we do?
Mm-hmm.
But Smash, on the other hand, is even trickier now. I mean, what is it? Someone said like 90 something characters or something stupid.
It's a lot of characters, yeah.
So like, what at this point, whatever you do with Smash is going to be a disappointment. Right? In a weird way?
What do you mean? Like if they do a new Smash?
Yeah.
And well, so like my theory, let's start with my theory, which is it's not going to look the way it does right now. I don't know what that will be, but they're going to reboot it and they're going to start with a selection of characters again, maybe 20 to 30, and they're going to kind of rebuild it. And there's not going to be the same sort of blocking and grappling. There's just going to be some different techniques that they add, and it's just going to be a different feeling game, a different looking game. But it's not, all the characters are not going to be there, and they're going to start from scratch. And maybe they'll do that over 3 or 4 generations.
I think you got to do something different like that. Yeah, I don't disagree. It's got to be something different because you're never going to repeat, right? What it is.
Yeah, because we don't want to have another Smash that looks the same, that's so close that people wonder if it's a port or not. And then just, you can't bring back all those characters. It's not going to bring back Snake or some of these characters again, like Cloud.
Yeah,
they have to restart.
It's different. I'm going to keep comparing it to, Mario Kart. Like Mario Kart, at least you could come up with 20 new courses. And there's so many characters. If you ever wanted to go down the Nintendo Kart road, you could. Like they already brought Zelda and Animal Crossing people into it. Like you still have so much more room to grow in Mario Kart.
Yes.
Where Smash is like 130 stages. Like you're right. Like what else are you going to do? You can't create a new game that has 130 new stages. And 90
fighting
something
games, 2D fighting games look the same. I mean, it doesn't look too different. You can do a different art style, which I think maybe they'll do. I wonder if they would do a 3D fighting game, like just make some Tekken looking thing or something like that.
Ooh.
I don't know. There's different. There are some things they can do, but for the most part, you're right. I think Mario Kart has more room for looking different than a game like. I mean, because I can think of a million ways to make Mario Kart look different, but I don't know about Smash. But yeah, it'll probably be on the next console, and I don't know if Sakurai is going to do it or what. It's going to be interesting to see.
No, he won't.
Number 7.
Next bit of news, we got our Animal Crossing Direct, and it was pretty cool.
It was.
A lot of stuff was announced. We got Brewster, which we knew. So you can go have some coffee.
Hold on, let's stop there. What exactly do you do here? I mean, is it a virtual coffee shop? Like, I can't imagine it's like, hey, John, I'm going to meet you at Brewster's. Let's hang out with our avatars, get on the mic, and talk. I don't get it. What do you do?
There's going to be like a Nintendo Dads episode where they do it at Brewster's.
Yeah.
I am in the same boat as you. I have no allure to this. I know my wife is really excited about it. You drink some coffee. You pay money for the coffee. You pay bells to sit there and drink a coffee. You can do it with your friends. Other than that, I don't know. And it's in the museum. So you have to kind of go into the museum.
That's weird.
And then go into the coffee shop. It is, because they could make a really cool looking coffee shop that looks like a little like Starbucks. and just put it on your map. That would be cool. Like, I don't know why they didn't do
It
that.
looked exactly the way it does. Just have a storefront.
I mean, and there was some concern that like, oh, people's towns are all built out, and so if you add a new building, come on, like the fun of Animal Crossing is changing your town. So make people find a space. No one's gonna hate that, and it's a big island. I don't know why they did that. So we knew that was coming. We saw a little bit more, but then we got news that Cappen's coming back, and he's gonna take you to an island where basically all the shops are. So instead of having to wait for the camel to come to your island to buy rugs, there's going to be shops. Instead of having to wait for the fox guy, what's his name, Red, you can go there. We don't have all the details, but pretty cool. And if you do stuff, you can get all the shops there, and you can, basically more availability. It makes sense that this is coming a little later in the game's life cycle.
I agree. It was making it a little unique and rare, and now it's like, all right, well, we've been out. Let's give the opportunity for everybody. I agree.
Exactly. Gyroids coming back. I never really liked the gyroids. They're weird, but these are smaller and cuter, and they go on shelves. So I actually think it'll be kind of fun to collect gyroids. You can do stretching, which was weird, but totally Animal Crossing. Farming, which was something that I thought would be in the next Animal Crossing, that it would be more of like a Stardew Valley style thing or whatever. And I guarantee you the next Animal Crossing will be much more heavy in farming. It seems like you can farm and do recipes, and that's really it. It's probably pretty shallow. But it's there. So, we had pumpkins. That was the only thing. And now we got wheat and, whatever other shit you gotta do. Accent walls and partitions. I thought the accent walls were really fun, because no matter what wallpaper you put in a room, when it wraps around the whole room, it feels overwhelming. And so an accent wall lets you have kind of the back wall being a solid color, and then, the pattern going around it. And it just looked much, much better. So that's really cool. And then there's some new fencing, and there's ceiling lights, and there's a whole bunch of stuff. I won't go through it all. But just a whole bunch of stuff where I think any one of these was probably not that exciting, but having them all come at one time is going to be like, Animal Crossing fans are going to kind of freak out.
And it's all free.
It's all free, and it's the last major update. So there's that. And then they mentioned the paid DLC. By the way, I predicted this paid DLC would come out on the anniversary. So I was off by 7 months, which ironically is how long it's been since I played Animal Crossing. Basically, they are bringing Happy Home Designer into Animal Crossing as DLC, making a bunch of changes and making it look good. And they're going to charge $25 for it. There's other ways to pay for it. We'll talk about those later. But were you excited about this, the Happy Home Designer?
Listen, I'm not playing Animal Crossing again. Maybe my daughter will, but I think this was great. Again, I don't know. This is something they did in the past. You said similar to this?
Happy Home Designer on 3DS. Yeah, that's basically what
I think it's great, though. Essentially, you can... It's a place to now go do something, right? So Animal Crossing is very, build your island, do what you want, where now it's very more, here's a mission, right? Essentially, here's your mission to go make this house full of teddy bears in a teddy bear house. So I like that idea. I think it's, now you have something to go focus on, right? And what is there, like 8 or 10 different little mini islands or houses that you have to go design?
Yeah.
Now, I'm assuming they're all the same, right? Like if me or you went, it's the same 8 or 10 characters?
I don't know. No. It might be random. It seemed like the characters might be random with different like desires. So it might be kind of random.
Maybe. But this is I think this is I think $25 seems a little steep, but I gotta imagine this is tens, I don't know, a lot of hours of content, right? To go off and go do all this stuff and then craft them and then design. I mean, people could spend over 100 hours doing this, easily. Michelle
was really excited about it. She played Happy Home Designer and liked it. I took a look at it, I remember back in the day, and I was like, oh God, I like Animal Crossing to a point, but I was like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to just design stuff. But she was really excited about it.
Agree, but if you really like Animal Crossing and you've done everything in your islands and you've done everything, now you have like a reason to do something.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
and they're guiding you just a little bit, because let's be honest, you would never go make a teddy bear house, but now you will.
Yes.
So I don't know. I like it. I like the idea of it.
And I think one of the cooler things too is you can what you basically do is you learn new powers. That's the best way I can describe it. You learn new techniques while you're playing the Happy Home Designer, and then you can bring those techniques into the main game. So I think one of those they showed was like partitioning. Like you can do wall partitions in Happy Home Designer, and then you can do it in your main game. So it is kind of a motivation to, because if they made this totally separate, people might just say, I don't want it. But now it's like, well, I have to sort of play that to unlock features in the main game. So now I'm going to play it to do that. But I think that makes it more motivational too. If I was a little bit more interested in Animal Crossing, that would be something I would probably do so that I could add to the Animal Crossing.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I think that's pretty neat. So I don't have much more to say about that. You can listen to the Dad Crossing guys and talk about that. I think John and Drew and I are probably not. I did go back into Animal Crossing this weekend to clean up my island. One quick thing I want to point out. I thought there would be weeds all over. There wasn't. And you know why? My island is called, what I call it, Old Hollow. It is half Halloween, half Christmas. So we're back in season now.
Yeah.
But I left the weeds from the beginning of the game in my Halloween island because it gave it like a gloomy mood. And so what happened is Animal Crossing is calculating the weeds, I'm guessing, and going, oh man, there's already a bunch of weeds here. I'm not going to add any more. So my Christmas area, which is clean shaven, Manscaped, it didn't have any weeds because the Halloween area. So I did have roaches in my house, but that was it. So it was kind of nice. I
can't imagine what mine would look like. It's been over a year, probably.
It's probably tons of weeds. But like, yeah, that's how you break it. So just have a little area on your island with nothing but weeds, and that's kind of how you beat the game.
Let's step up the intensity.
Ouch.
Now that was a great workout.
Number 6.
I gotta be honest, that truly you just drank made me really want one. I'm very thirsty. I'm in my warm closet with a cup of coffee.
I've avoided the mango for another week because I'm not having the black ones. I have the silver cans.
I know. I probably won't buy another 12-pack until the spring. I usually go to beer for the winter. It's more hearty. Anyways, number 6. Thank you, Sadie. Drew's Nature Preserve update, folks. And let me tell you, buckle in, turn the radio up, turn your iPhone up, put your headphones on, whatever you're doing, because this is going to be the best Nature Preserve update, I think, maybe ever. We have a new species involved this week, folks. And it's going to get wild. It's going to get wild. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 updates of 6 occurrences. So, before we even get into the landscaping of my yard, it started this weekend, John, when I was driving home from Holy Cross University, college, not sure which one it is, and I'm on the highway. No, I'm in a back road. It's very dark. There's no street lights, and I have the high beams on, and what comes flying out of the woods? A fucking bat. And it went directly into my windshield.
Oh.
And it just kind of like bounced off of it. And it was just like a thud. Bats aren't that big, but it was just like, I was like, oh, fuck. Like, yeah, it just kind of scared me a little bit.
That would be horrifying.
So that was the first thing. So today, it's the middle of October. Yes, I live in New England. We've had some warm weather. Actually, it got up to like 80 degrees last week one day.
Oh, my God.
And so, yeah, all the flowers are starting to bloom again. My grass is growing. I'm fucking pissed. And I did like a end of the year weed whacking. Outside of my fence line, I like to go around with the weed whacker. I do it like maybe 4 times a year, but this is probably going to be the last one. And I really like weed whack all the way down. Shit that tries to like grow under the fence or through the fence. It's kind of like just outside my fence line. So
is this like on the other side of like your neighbor's yard or like the forest area?
Like I have I have in my woods, because I have like 2
Okay.
acres of woods, so
Right.
it's outside of my fence. It's my property, but it's like it's between the fence and the woods. Like there's probably 10 feet of whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I weed wet that, but the problem was the grass was long. I'm talking probably like a foot long because I don't go back there. Like, you can't really see it that much.
Right.
I do it a couple times a year. So I go back there, and
This is just the most euphemistic conversation, but I'm just letting it go. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm just gonna go with this.
so the first thing I come across is I didn't see it. It's like this fucking huge mushroom ball thing, and I weed whacked it, and like it's like a video game. Like this puff of smoke just comes out, and it was like a video game where like you see your health bar turn green, and
Yeah.
it starts going down.
Right.
Like it was like I'm like I'm like coughing up a lung. It's like, and it wasn't going away. I thought I was gonna die from poison. It was like a mushroom bomb,
Yeah.
is what I'm calling it.
Last
It was incredible. It was incredible. So that happened. Then I keep going, and
I know what the next one's gonna be, and I'm horrified.
you should be, because I weed whacking and I see like this giant snake. Like, not giant. Let me rephrase. It's the biggest snake I've ever seen on my property. Right? It probably was 5 feet long, and I didn't see it. Like I weed whacked it. Right? So I weed whacked it. It got cut in half. But little did I know, this was like a snake nest, if that's even a thing. There was another snake, and this one was pissed. And I've never seen like a snake pissed in my yard. Typically, you have these like gardener snakes that are afraid of people. But I think since I came to its house, it was pissed, and it legit like coiled up and opened its mouth and hissed at me. So John, I had nothing to do except one choice.
Right.
I fucking weed whacked that thing in half.
Oh my god.
Right at the head. I chopped that head right off. I mean, it was like, it was like the fucking movie. It was like stood up at me, and I'm like, oh, fuck you. Yeah, got it. And then I found that there was like a baby in there, and I stepped on that. It was intense. It was intense. So these I had like 2 snakes that were like 5 feet long.
It
was brutal. It was brutal.
I want to apologize to the audience for
No,
it's massacre of a parent
nest.
that my co-host
Mm.
inflicted. He could have just ran away or stepped away and moved on, and he savaged a family, destroyed lives.
Shouldn't have been there. John, you know what's worse than stepping in dog shit?
Coming across a snake nest and murdering the snakes.
No. Weed whacking dog shit. I don't recommend it.
Okay.
It's just, I didn't see it there. Got it a little.
10.
Yeah, it was like, like in the horror movies when you see like the blood splat across the wall. It was like shit splattered across my fence.
Your face? Did you just say your face?
No, my fence.
Oh, okay.
Number 5 on the list was earlier in the week. If you follow us on Discord, I showed pictures. I found a fucking black widow in my backyard. Like, I didn't know they were in New England. I looked this shit up, and it was like, yeah, that's a fucking black widow. It was terrifying.
I like how this is 5th on your list.
Oh. All right, here's number 6. Another new species. This is the third. No, I mean, the mushroom bomb, the bat, the black widow. These are all new, but a new one. So I'm getting into like behind like my fence area, and I'm like just about at my side yard. Right, I went all the way around my property. I'm in the side yard, and I see this like big ball of mangledness, and I'm like, what the fuck's that? And I'm looking at it, and whatever it is, it's like all of these guts are like pouring out of it. It was mangled. You almost couldn't even tell what it was. And I'm looking at it. It's a little furry. John, it was a fucking baby owl. Like, something massacred this baby owl, and it was just disgusting in my side yard. And I was like, wow, that's fucked up. So I went.
That's fucked up.
So I went and got my blower, and I just fucking blew it into the woods.
Who would murder this beautiful creature? What a horrible maniac.
I mean, I probably weed whacked it last week and just didn't know. So mushroom bombs, bats, snake nest, dog shit, black widows, and fucking owls. What
It's
an
lovely.
adventure. It's been a weekend for Drew's Nature Preserve. And I think we need a new name because Drew's Nature Preserve, it's more like Nature Destroyed.
I think we got to find a rating above E or something, or not E, like M, for this, because I feel like it doesn't do the rating of our show justice. It's like Faces of Death or something like that. But I do have owls, so for once we have the same thing in our yards. I have lots. I
think
of
we
owls.
should have like a little contest of who'd come up with the best name for the new Drew's Nature Preserve.
Remind me for number 2. We should bring it up again. I'll put it in the notes. I just got an idea. Okay.
So maybe we'll make this a contest, and I'll give someone a $5 eShop card if someone can come up with the snake head name. I want a new name for Drew's Nature Preserve. It's become a bi-weekly topic, and we need a new name because who knows what the hell the winter will bring, folks? Who knows? But yeah, that's it.
I'm horrified.
Number 5.
Okay, there was a controversial tweet by very smart social media people that we are not, that did a little comparison of two $60 games. They said Metroid Dread is $60, and then God of War 2018 is $60. And they put them side by side. Clearly, God of War is like one of these, big 3D adventure games. And Metroid Dread is I want to say 2D, but it's not. It's actually a 3D game because you can see those transitions that they do. But it's a 2D perspective, and the insinuation is that I don't know what the insinuation was. They tried to recover. The insinuation to me and most people was God of War is a truly deserving $60 game, and Metroid Dread is not worth $60 because it's just this 2D Metroidvania. But I'm not going to tell you who tweeted this because I think it was kind of a clickbait, shitty tweet. But there is a valid question in that the price of a big budget 3D game being the same as a 2D Metroidvania game, is that fair that they're both the same? And maybe what I think, maybe the big budget 3D game should be more. Maybe games like The Witcher shouldn't just be $60. Maybe they should be like $100. And what effect would that have, right? Think about how big in scope a game like The Witcher 3 is, right? So let's start this out. That game is massive in scope. First of all, it's like a 60 to 80 hour game if you're just kind of focusing on the main quest stuff. Side quest stuff will take you into the 200-hour range. There's DLC, which I don't know if they charged for or not. I got it with the package. It's all 3D, massive amount of dialogue, massive amount of voice acting because everything's voice acted, massive amount of animations, all of that jazz. And they're charging $60, which is the going rate for a video game. But we've seen $60 games, and I'm not going to say Metroid Dread is one of those, that basically are the bare bones. So like, we're thinking about, I don't really want to call any out, but you know what they are. These $60 games that are like, well, they certainly put in a fraction of the effort that a game like The Witcher took. But shouldn't The Witcher be more than $60? I don't think Metroid Dread is worth $60. Metroid Dread is worth $80. It's that good. But so, should these other games be more expensive? What do you think? Is it fair?
There's a few things going on here. I think the first thing is saying a game is worth or not worth something is hard to say, right? I mean, I'd pay $60 for Mario Golf if it came with 5 characters and 1 course, right? So it's all about what your favorite genre is, what your favorite series is, what your favorite type of game is, right? So I think that makes a huge. I'd pay $100 for a Mario Golf game. Other people would say I wouldn't pay $40. So that's tricky, right? Because you always have that favorism towards a genre or a specific franchise or game. Right? Same thing with Bayonetta. If Bayonetta 3 came out and said it was $100, you'd probably buy it.
No, I wouldn't. But I know what you're saying. I know what
You
you're
get my
saying.
point.
Yeah.
Now, there's the other side of stuff from the business point of view, where just like making a movie or whatever it might be, is how much money did you spend on that game, right? Between the labor and the designs and the marketing. Obviously, Nintendo spent a lot of money on the marketing of this game. So, how much money? Let's say they spent whatever it is. Let's say they spent 50 million to make this game. If they have their break even point or whatever it is at 50 million, just because Metroid is Metroid, right? You have the name associated with Metroid. Is Nintendo saying, well, it's a Metroid game, so I'm going to put it out at $60? It's like a Mario game. Would Nintendo ever put a Mario game out not for $60?
No.
Probably not. So I think Nintendo is also saying this is our main franchise. If we put this thing out for anything less than $60, then we're almost saying like Metroid's not our most popular or isn't our main franchise, right? And which they want it to be. They want Metroid to be one of their big franchises.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's tricky from a Nintendo point of view. But I also disagree with Nintendo where if it's not worth $60, right? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, and maybe this is a spoiler alert. I mean, I didn't play the game, so is what I'm hearing true that the game is only between like 7 and 10 hours?
It is between, I would say, 5 and 15 hours, depending
Okay.
on how, the gamer.
Yeah. So for strictly speaking, from that point of view, that is a very short game. A short $60 game.
Correct.
Aside from graphics and story and the franchise, all that. Like put all that from aside from a point of view. That's a lot of money.
And even that you'd play it again, because a lot of people will play it multiple times. But like, let's just say you just play it one time, you rolled credits, you're done.
And even if you 100%ed it, maybe it's 15 or 20. I mean, I don't know if that's even a game you can 100%.
You can 100% it. Usually people do like a second run or whatever. But yeah, I mean, you can.
So, but now back to your point of like a Witcher, Breath of the Wild. What was the other game you referenced this to?
You could say Horizon Zero Dawn, Red Dead Redemption, a lot of them.
You could play Witchers for hundreds of hours. Like there's physically hundreds of hours of content, of quests, of design. So when you look at Metroid Dread and Witcher 3, like how much, if we might be able to figure this out, maybe not, but how much money do you think spent on developing those two games?
I have no idea, but I would say The Witcher could be 5 or 6 or 7 times more money.
Agreed. So from that point of view, if you put it at $100, is it worth it? Absolutely. But you don't get the assholes out there that say, I'm not paying $100 for a game.
Exactly.
You also have the people, the gamers out there that say, I don't want to play the $300, 300 hours worth of game. I want to play the 50 hours, bang the redhead and be done. Right. So it's such a tricky thing. But I think Nintendo is always greedy with those types of things, and it's Metroid, so they're not going to sell it for less than 60. That's it.
Yeah.
But to me, again, I didn't play it, but from my point of view, it doesn't seem like a $60 game. But I get it. I get why Nintendo did it. They're not going to degrade their own franchises.
Right. Yeah, I had to look up the name, by the way. It was Triss. I forgot.
Triss. Marigold.
I think there's no way to value games, right? You can't base it on the work. Otherwise, every game would be some weird number or whatever. Metroid is a shorter game, depending on how you play it. But it is also a game that you might play multiple times. It's a lot of fun. And if you value the game based on the effort you put in and the work, that is one thing. But we've seen Nintendo put out games that are maybe less work, but then they'll put it out for less money, right? Like Game Builder Garage was like $30. And I thought that was going to be a $60 game. They put it out for $30. I don't know why, if they thought maybe it wouldn't have as big a market, so they needed to make it cheaper. But they wanted kids to play it. They wanted
it goes back to the naming, right? It's Metroid is in this name. They consider Metroid, right? I don't know, maybe top 5 if we really sat and thought about it. Maybe top 10. I mean, definitely top 10, right?
Right.
But that's one of their big franchises. They can't degrade it and put it for a lower price. You can't.
But besides the Prime games, all of the Metroid games are 5 to 15 hours. They all are, and they've always been that way. So I think what happens is a game like The Witcher, which is a way bigger effort. I think what happens is they'll sell it for the same price because they know they're going to sell more copies. Metroid doesn't sell incredibly well. I don't know if it's the time or what. It's probably not the timing, but The Witcher has sold tens of millions of copies. So even though they don't charge $100, they're selling a lot more, selling it at 60, and nowadays you can buy it for really cheap. I mean, the game hasn't aged a bit. But so I get that. I think it's really unfair and really downright dickish to compare God of War with Metroid. They're different
Agreed.
games.
I agree.
And the enjoyment you get. Look, I love the Tomb Raider games. I enjoy them. Tomb Raider is like 10 to 15 hours. It's not a long experience. And if you want to try to do the completion, it's frankly kind of miserable. I wouldn't even recommend it. But it's worth the money. It doesn't matter about the length of the game. And Metroid is the same way. God of War is a different game. It probably is it's definitely probably longer than Metroid. I haven't played God of War. I'd like to someday. But you know what? The first God of War game was full price $60. And that was not a long game. That was about 10 hours and mostly repetitive content. And I enjoyed the shit out of the original God of War. And I never said, oh, this game was not worth $60. So yeah, they put in more work to it, but they knew they were going to sell more. So, if you were going to put in the kind of effort to make one of those types of games, like let's say Witcher, and you knew that only 5 million people were going to buy the game, they wouldn't even make the game. They're putting in that time and effort because they know it's going to sell incredibly well. And that's part of it. But like they're not a charity case. And Nintendo knows they're not going to sell a ton of copies of Metroid. So their budget for it isn't as big.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
I mean, we can't break down the detail of how much this is worth. How much money was spent making Legend of Zelda? Not a lot. The original Legend of Zelda, not a lot of people were involved in that. And it was a full price game. They all were, it's based on the fun. So yeah, I think a lot of people took that tweet incredibly insultingly. So it was pretty good. This guy got pretty banged and he tried to recover from it a bit. Again, I'm not going to point specifically to it. I think the guy just wanted to grind some gears, and he did. You did it. Good job. But yeah, there you go.
Number 4.
Number 4, Sadie, thank you. So it's been a while, John. We haven't done a little what have you been streaming update. Every once in a while, we like to kind of just say, what have we been watching on, on TV or Netflix or Hulu or HBO or wherever it might be. So we like to at least kind of pit 3 things and go through. So why don't you start us off on what you've been watching?
I'll save one of them for the end. We can talk about it together.
Okay.
But I have been watching Ted Lasso. The second season just wrapped up. We decided to jump in on Apple TV because we got the free year and there was a few shows on there I wanted to see. So Ted Lasso actually was, we watched Ted Lasso and Schmigadoon. But the second season of Ted Lasso has been pretty good. There was less accentuation on the soccer. The show is not primarily about soccer, but it revolves around soccer. And as a sports fan, I kind of liked seeing some of the sports scenes, and they took a lot of that out of this season. But it's a tremendously well done show. Jason Sudeikis. I mean, everything SNL. Yeah, I love everything SNL.
It's on our list.
It is incredible. Yeah, Amy would love it.
Jason Sudeikis, I think he's hosting Saturday Night Live.
He is
this weekend.
This week, yeah. I'm really excited.
Weekend, yeah, Amy loves him too, so I know she would love the show.
Oh yeah, and you saw we'll talk about that later. But yeah, and it had an ending. They had a really good villain. And they wrapped it up. Everyone's pretty much pissed off and whatever. It was a good season. I've enjoyed it. Looking forward to the third season. And then I have been watching. I don't know how I never saw the show before, but for the last month and a half, we've been streaming 30 Rock on Netflix. I'm a huge SNL fan. This is the show with Tina Fey, Alec Baldwin, and then very famously Kenneth, the NBC page. I did not realize how good. Oh, and Tracy Morgan. I can't forget Tracy Morgan.
Yeah.
I did not realize how incredibly well done the show is. The writing is amazing. So many laugh out loud moments, and it doesn't feel like a cheap sitcom. It feels like a very well written sitcom. It is incredible. Great performances from Jane Krakowski is in this show. She's never really led a show, but Jane Krakowski just is always money every time she's somewhere. She makes the show amazing. So it's a great cast. And to my surprise, besides just Tracy Morgan and Tina Fey, tons of SNL cameos. Chris Parnell is on the show. He plays a doctor. Rachel Dratch had a lot of different appearances as different characters on the show. Will Arnett, who's not an SNL guy, but Will Arnett was married to Amy Poehler.
Yeah, I love Will Arnett.
Just tons of different great performances, and they even had Edie Falco on for at least a season from Sopranos. So many great cameos, so many SNL characters. I love it. So I think we're still in season 3. Still got a ways to go. Just really loving it. So
nice.
And then I'll let you go, and then we'll kind of do the last one together.
Yeah. I think I may have mentioned this to you. Only Murders in the Building. I believe this is Hulu. Steve Martin, Martin Short, Selena Gomez. It's a great, I guess you could say, comedy / mystery. They're all, either some type of big shot. They're all kind of, they all have money. They live in these very high end apartment complexes in downtown New York. First episode, there is a suicide. However, Steve Martin and Martin Short believe that it is a murder. So they start to investigate on their own. They start a podcast, like a murder mystery podcast, where they do episodes that reveal more and more information. And yeah, every episode you find a little bit more about this, and maybe it was a murder and how it happened, and then how Selena Gomez actually maybe knew the guy, and it got into be it's just the fun. There's one episode left. I haven't watched the last episode, but
how long was the season?
I think I want to say between 8 and 10 episodes.
Okay.
And they're our 45-minute type episodes.
Okay.
But it's well done. It's very well done, and like I said, I like both Steve Martin and Martin Short, so it's a lot of fun. And Selena Gomez grew on me. I liked her in this, actually. I never hated her. I just haven't seen her in too much things. Next thing on my list, I am a sucker for a good reality show, John. And Survivor is back, season 41.
Oh my
God!
God.
This show. I watched I've watched them all. I love it. I don't know why. Just love watching it. And there are a few episodes in, and it's fun. Season's a little different. They shortened it up because of COVID. I think they shrank it from like 39 days to like 25 days or something. They really dropped it so they could do like a 14-day quarantine type thing after it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Survivor. Wednesday nights. I watch it every Wednesday night. Live.
Live? Oh, okay. And it's not live show. You just...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, not live.
All right.
But on the show that is taking over the world right now, that we've both finished in about a week time, right?
Mm-hmm.
Squid Game. I mean, God, I mean, you gotta go into it just not knowing a lot. It was fantastic. So if you don't know, it is a Korean show, right? It's Korean actors. They speak Korean, and you can either get the English subtitles, or they actually do have, I want to say it's actually decent dubbed over English voice actors. So they got all different voice actors, and they do a decent job at trying to express the characters, expressions and stuff like that. I mean, it's the best ability. So there's two problems. They could, no matter what, Korean to English, whether it's subtitles or voice actors, it's not like a perfect translation. And
don't do the English dub. I know, like, some people don't like
We've
subtitles.
Done both. We tried both.
Yeah, you get the expression. It's so much better with the subtitles. And I know when I've watched movies with subtitles, sometimes you're like, especially these days, you like kind of glance at your phone, you lose a little interest, but you have to be staring at the screen for the subtitles.
You have to be.
This
Yeah.
show is so fucking good. You
Yeah.
will not peel your eyes away from the screen. So you will be able to handle the subtitles just fine.
It's fantastic. And we don't want to spoil it because it's still fairly newer. I mean,
Mhm.
the only way I would describe it, if someone said, well, how would you describe it? I would say it's like the movies Saw, but like kind of like a reality show. Like a
Mhm.
reality show, like a fake reality show
Right.
mixed with like Saw. It's just, and definitely with the Saw concept where like when you started watching the beginning of the Saw franchises, right? It was like, oh, you wanted to see the games and the you know how they had to break out of the room or how they died. But then as you watched more Saws, Jigsaw got more involved and there was more behind the scenes of why he was doing it and how it was happening. That's what Squid Game kind of is, right? It has the upfront reality game show well, not reality, game show aspect, but there's so much more going behind the scenes that you start learning about, which I find just as entertaining, right, John? Like that
Mhm.
stuff became just as entertaining and nerve wracking as the games did.
It kind of reminded me of Ted Lasso, where the show is about more than just the game, but the
Yeah,
game, everything revolved around the game. So you were like, "Ooh, I really like this story, and I'm really curious to see what the next game is."
but
Um,
the pacing was perfect. That's what
yes,
I loved about it. The pacing between the game and the outside of the game or behind the scenes game was fabulous. They did it so well.
yeah.
Just all around great production, great acting. Again, even though they were Korean, you might understand what they were saying. Uh, the production value, the suspense level, it was
The
all fantastic.
writing, it's an interesting show. We don't get a lot of interesting shows in America. We get a lot of the shows in this country are what's going to bring in the most revenue, what's going to bring in
Mm,
eyeballs. They're not thinking about what is the most interesting story or something
yep.
unique. And this is just really great writing and stories. The characters are not there to indulge, target audiences or focus groups. It's
Mm.
just a really interesting show. And if you describe it to some people, they'll be like totally turned off. But like I recommended it to you. I recommended it to my sister. Everybody that I've said you need to watch that show is like, wow, this is like
Hmm.
brilliant. I mean, it's the best show I've seen in many years. It's absolutely you'd recommend it.
Now,
Can't wait for the second season.
they, there's definitely going to be one. I'm wondering if United States or like an American company's going to try to convert into their own Squid Game version next.
Oh, they will, and they
Yeah.
it'll be like they'll put the Rock in it, but it's
They're
like
definitely going to make an English version of it, I bet, too.
really sometimes these international shows and movies, they don't think about that sort of focus grouping stuff. They just do like something interesting, and yeah, an American version of this would probably be terrible.
Mm.
But
Now,
yeah, just incredible.
and if you did watch it and you've seen it, go watch the Saturday Night Live skit from this past weekend.
So
It was
good.
amazing.
I had literally told my wife, I go, because it was who's the guy that was hosting? The guy who played
The bad guy from the new Bond movie, I forget his name.
yeah. He was in the Queen movie.
Yeah.
And I said they've got to do a Squid Game skit at some point. Like I don't know this week, but they got to do a Squid Game skit. And like literally like a minute later, this skit started, and you don't really realize it right away that it's going to
Yeah.
be. And it was like there you go, because you knew they had to do it, and
But I'm
like
glad I watched it.
oh
The
yeah,
show because
spoiler.
and it's bad because it's like they use the same numbers. So
Mm-hmm.
it's like you know who's like winning and who was dying. It's like
Yeah,
man, like if you're in the middle of this show, do not watch it.
do
If
not.
you've never seen the show, you might not really catch on, but it wouldn't
Yeah,
make sense to you either.
it's a total spoiler. I would say watch the show if you haven't.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you watch the skit, you might forget about it, but like, yeah, don't watch it. It was very spoilery. Maybe that's why they waited a little bit.
Yeah. Well, go watch
Um,
the show, Squid Game. It's fabulous.
it's perfect.
Number 3.
John, I wanted to do something different. I don't know if we've done this before. If we did it a long time ago. But we needed another topic, so I threw in one in here for you because I know you're an old school PC gamer at heart, like I am myself. So I figured, why don't we just each do a little top 3 old school PC games. Maybe do you have a short
I
30-second
like it.
story on your memories behind it or why,
We
what it was?
we did the same thing in the notes where we put the games in our notes, but we encoded them a little bit with blanks.
So let me
And
ask,
I'm
did you
looking at
figure
your
out mine?
list, and I'm trying to figure out yours. There's one I think I might know, but I haven't figured out the other ones yet.
I think I know your first one only because I think I knew it before I even looked at your list.
Well, how do you want to do this? Do you want to? We'll just
Let's do number
alternate.
3. We'll each do number 3. Yeah, you'd
Okay.
start off at 3 and I'll do number 3.
So number 3, I don't know how great this game is, but when I was a kid, I had gotten a Tandy TRS-80 color computer. That was my first computer that I ever got. And I played a game called Robot Odyssey. And let me tell you how life-changing this game was. First of all, I was playing my first computer. Robot Odyssey is a story about, I'll just loosely from memory, some guy who's sleeping and then he slides down into this mysterious underground world and there's robots and he has to get out of this world. I think it's like Megalopolis or Metropolis or something like that, something Superman-y. And in order to get out, he has to go into the robots
Oh, this looks
and
good.
program the robots. Literally, they gave you, I think what they called it, a soldering iron, and you had little parts. So they had like every robot had some thrusters, maybe 2, maybe 4, maybe 1, and then they had sensors, and you wired. So if you wired from the sensor to the thruster, it meant when the sensor activated, the thruster would go. And they gave you, this was a video game, they gave you AND gates and OR gates and all sorts of stuff to basically program the robot. So you couldn't control the robot directly. You had to basically program the robot. You could change the programming midstream, so you didn't have to program something to go from beginning to end.
Mm.
And this is when I started to become a computer programmer. I loved playing this game. I learned a lot. That's what I started doing programming on my TRS-80. And I've been programming my whole life since this game. So I really loved it. I tried to play it like 4 years ago by emulating it, and it wasn't as fun, but there's so much history to it. And there was at one point I had met up with a graphics designer. My dream has been to make a game just like this because I think the aspect of programming is fun. And I actually started programming a programmable robot. It didn't have graphics, but like you could wire things and get thrusters to work and stuff like that. And I never finished the project, but like really one day, maybe when I retire, I'm going to start building a game like Robot Odyssey.
Wow.
I love it. I wonder if Jesse's played this game.
It actually sounds, I was just looking at the pictures and it sounds cool.
I'm going to try to guess your number 3. Can I try to guess your number 3?
Sure.
Is it Hexen?
It is Hexen. I loved Hexen. Actually, I think it was called Hexen Beyond Heretic or something like that. It was awesome. I mean, it was Doom, right? It was essentially Doom. It was that first person, old school. It was the Doom engine. It was just so much fun. I loved it. I think you have to pick between like a wizard or a knight, and stuff. But I'm not going to talk about Hexen too long because I think it came out in '95. But your game, John, your Robot Odyssey game, reminded me of another game that is very similar to Robot Odyssey that I want to now talk about because it was like one of my favorite games ever. And believe it or not, it was a Metroidvania game, which I hate. And it's no other 1984, right?
The book?
Commodore, Atari.
The year?
Montezuma's Revenge. And I'm not talking about diarrhea. Montezuma's Revenge was an amazing Indiana Jones. Now, listen, I think this is why I was so looking forward to Spelunky. I wanted Spelunky to be Montezuma's Revenge.
I forgot about Spelunky. Yeah.
So, I mean, did you remember this game? Did you play it?
Montezuma's Revenge or Hexen?
Montezuma's Revenge.
Yeah, I've seen it on some videos. I never played it when I was a kid.
Yep. But yeah, that same Indiana Jones type style, going through, trying to escape, finding keys, unlock doors. Similar to Spelunky concept, but great game. Now, Hexen, did you play?
When I was in college, it was popular, like because it kind of looked like Doom and whatever, but it was like the spaceship version. Never played it. I'm not into spaceshipy games.
It wasn't spaceshipy.
No? Oh, maybe I'm thinking
No.
of. Maybe I'm thinking of Descent. I'm sorry.
No,
No,
this was
I
more like
I'm thinking Descent.
castle-ish type
Yeah.
fire.
I did not
Yeah.
play it. I did not play it, but I know it was popular when I was in college. Yeah. I didn't play it.
Okay.
Looks like a pretty Doom though.
Yeah, in a way. All right, so I cheated there. I had 2 there, but only because you
It
made me
really
think
did.
of
That
it.
was confusing.
All right, your number 2.
My number 2 is this is just one of those games that I played in college because we had an Ethernet, and so I played with people. I love this game. I don't play the franchise really anymore, but Worms 2 was amazing to me back in college. So Worms is like a game where you have a bunch of worms and you can use various weapons,
I
and
played
you're on this
Worms.
battlefield. It's 2D. And generally in each matchup, you have a certain number of weapons, a finite number, and you just have to decide when you should use them. So like one of the weapons was like a holy hand grenade, and it was a big bomb grenade. So maybe you don't want to
Yes.
use that right away. Maybe you want to
Yeah.
like try to
Love
use
this
some of
game.
the other weapons. But one of the biggest aspect of this game was the roping. There was a rope,
Yep.
and you could get, for the most part, you could just shoot the rope up onto a piece of wall and swing and bounce off a wall or whatever. But as you got better, you started to use momentum, and you could like swing and then release the rope and like fly over like an obstruction. And then if you were really good, and if you hit the floor, you would lose your turn and take damage. But if you're really good, while you're flying over an obstruction, you can throw out another rope and catch yourself. So there were people that could get really good with a rope to the point where you would play levels without the rope. Just like, let's just use the weapons, forget the rope.
Yeah.
And I got really fucking good with the rope. And so I would love playing these games. I'd fling around and just, oh my God, it's so much fun. And there was a timer. Your turns were turn based.
Yep.
But you
Yeah,
had like 30
seconds.
seconds or something.
Yeah, yep.
It was just so much fun and strategy to decide what to fire and what to rope and how to do your turn, and like not only shoot a weapon but then get out of there. So if you threw a bomb right next to you and then you roped out of there, oh my God, so much fun.
Isn't it funny how like those games, I played Worms. I loved Worms. But like there's Worms still exists today. Like they're continuing to make Worms, but the concept of the gameplay, like, I don't want to play Worms. There's so many other games. There's so many better games now.
Right.
But back then, like that was amazing.
If you had a lot of friends, it's more fun. Like now, I don't play it because no one wants to play it.
I'd play it with you, John.
I don't know if I would play it.
Listen, did you ever play the web browser based game called Dinky Bomb?
Never even heard of it.
Oh my God, look it up. It's Worms.
Your number 2?
It's essentially Worms, a spin-off of Worms, but there was something about it. It was free to play and it was web based, and it was so much fun. I don't know. I think it was almost better than Worms, but it's essentially the same game.
Worms.
All right, my number 2. But I have to say, I just looked up my phone when I was doing some research. Montezuma's Revenge. They remade it.
I know this one. I know what you wrote.
Oh, what is it?
Alone in the Dark.
Alone in the Dark is my number 2 game. I fucking love this game. I remember when I was at Catholic school and we had computer class twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the basement. And if you finished all your, your type in lessons and stuff of the day, you could play games at the end. And you could go into the pile of like CDs. And then they always had Alone in the Dark. And I always went and got Alone in the Dark. And I would always play it. And I remember like this one time, everyone was like crowding around. I'm like going towards the tree at the end with my lantern and shit. Oh my God, I just love that game. I played it a few years back. It's actually on the iOS. You could play it on your phone. It's not great, but it's still fun. You can beat it if you remember or have a guide. You probably could beat it in an hour. And
yeah, again, you knew what to do.
Yeah. Again, the game today sucks, but back then it was like life changing. It was amazing. And then they had, remember the second one they did, like something Jats, and they had like that store, and you had to escape the toy store. It was like a promotional one for Alone in the Dark 2 or 3. I don't know. There was a lot of them.
I've never finished an Alone in the Dark game, and I honestly, Alone in the Dark is one of the worst games I've ever played. I remember it being one of the first 3D games I've ever seen. But yeah, I didn't like it. I never liked it. I did play it a lot, that first game. I never got very far.
I beat it several times.
Yeah. Have it.
Montezuma's Revenge you can buy on the iOS and Google.
You're not allowed to just keep mentioning this game.
I just bought it, $2.99. I bought it.
Wow.
Anyways, what's your number one? I know what your number one is.
Tell me what my number one is.
It's by Sierra, King's Quest. It has to be.
It is King's Quest 3, Drew. Come on.
Oh, actually, I would have went 2.
3. I like all of them. I've probably played 3 and 1 the most. I haven't really played through any of the King's Quest once they went to the point and click, which I think was 5. But they're all great. King's Quest 3 is my favorite because I love the way it's set up. It's just set up so different.
That one was so hard.
You are like this boy. You don't know who you are really. And there's a wizard that you are in service to.
And you're in this house or kind of castle. Not really. It's in a tower.
So you started off and the wizard appears and
he's
like,
God.
Do this for me, blah, 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 blah. And then you do it for you. And he'll give you a random task, which is funny. So he'll give you like, I want you to go here. I want you to cook this or whatever. And one of my great memories with my friend at the time was he said, clean my, I can't remember what the wording they used in it. His latrine or chamber pot.
Yes, chamber pot.
And my friend and I did not know what a chamber pot was. So we didn't know what to fucking do. And we're like, what do we do? And we just went in every room, look at chamber pot, like just guessing. And then it turns out, it's the thing you pee in. So he gives you a task to do and then you do it. And then you have some time. You have to get it done. I don't know. It's like 5 minutes or whatever. Then he comes back and he says, I have to go run on an errand or something like that.
Yeah.
And you have, and we didn't even know it at the time, 20 minutes before he comes back.
Yep. I remember.
And when he does that, you actually have to use that time to prepare to like kill him.
Yep.
And you are in this house. You can go down the hill. You're on top of a hill. You can go down the hill into the main area and do stuff down there. But you need to get back there before the wizard comes back. And it's always like 20 minutes, but we didn't know that. And it's kind of like it feels open worldy. Like you can kind of do anything. So you can go grab supplies. You can hide it under your bed, which is one of the weirdest mechanics. You'd never think this all-knowing wizard, but if I hide it under my bed, so you literally might find 10 different supplies and then you go tuck them all under your bed. And then he comes back and he goes away again. And it's just so good. Spoilers for a 35, 40-year-old game. You have to basically poison him. You basically make him food and then you poison him. I think that's when he comes back this third time. It's so much fun, and there's a lot of moon logic to it. You'd need help if you were playing it today, probably. But I just love it. I own like 3 physical copies of it because I'm an idiot.
Can you? Where can you play it nowadays? Only.
So I have DOSBox installed on my laptop, and I will from time to time. It's been a long time. Play DOSBox games. What I like to do is I will get King's Quest 3. I have it. I will get King's Quest 3, but then I like to take the physical manual because you need the manual for the game. And I use the real physical manual. I don't have a PDF or anything. I have the real manual. So I'm playing it on DOSBox. I have the discs for the game, but I just play it in emulation and I use the manual. And the fun part about King's Quest 3 is the manual has recipes. You literally find the ingredients in the game. There is no recipe book in the game. The recipe book is physical, and you look at the recipes and you make various potions with this physical book. It's so much fun. That's how I play a lot of those PC games.
Reading the description here.
It's fascinating. It's just such a great game. And these games were designed at a time when all of these PC games were designed not for a casual audience. They were designed for computer people because you really had to be a computer person to even know how to play these games. And so they are not like these casual games that you play. They're games you sit down and you figure out, and you play these games over months where you're reading manuals, trying to come up with ideas. And like there are some of these Sierra games that I played over the course of years before I actually finished them. But it just makes them so much fun. It does make them like less likely that you play them fresh today. It'd probably be nothing but frustrating. But man,
so I'm reading the story. It looks like after you kill the wizard, that's only like halfway done with the game. Then it says you go and you get captured by pirates, and you got to put the pirates. I've
Oh
never done
yeah,
that.
you got
I
get on a pirate ship.
I never did. And then there's a magic mirror involved, and there's a
Yeah,
dragon. Yeah, see, I never made it that far.
yeah, and a
I'm
lot of
not
these
sure I
games
even
too.
killed.
If you miss something, you could end up in an unwinnable situation. I don't know if King's
Oh
Quest
yeah,
3 had it, but some of the other games did have unwinnable situations. You could be playing for hours and hours and hours, and it's like, no, you missed something.
yeah.
You'll never do it, and you got to
You needed.
load it.
Well, it's just like I hate Alone in the Dark. Alone in the Dark, you start with a lantern, and that's it.
Mhm.
And you have to drop items and you pick up items along the way, but you need the lantern to kill the tree at the end to let it on fire. So you
Oh,
need the
right.
very first item that you start. It's the same concept. If you
Yeah,
get rid of that lantern, or you can't beat the game.
right.
Uh did they ever remake any of these games?
So there is a King's Quest, not even a remake. It's a whole new story. And I think there's like 5 episodes on PS4. I own it.
Oh,
And we played as a family. We played the first episode because we got that for free
is it like a
with
point
PS
and click
Plus.
or something, or no?
It's point and click. We had a blast with it, and I have 4 other episodes, and I've never played them.
You know you're gonna play them now. Now you're playing them.
I don't know. I had a PS4 in my room. I never did. I don't know why. But you know what? I thought they would be bad because I like the originals, and that's it. It was really fun. They did a great job with it. The animation looks great. The logic is great. The stories are great. If they put it on Xbox, I should check. If they put it on Xbox, I might buy that. I should take a look and see. But I would play it. It's really good on the new version. Right? You never would think it.
Huh.
But yeah, I always regard King's Quest 3 as my favorite. Yeah, they did do it on Xbox. How much is it? Free. I think what? Are all the chapters free or no?
Oh, you're playing those, and that's 10 days.
Oh no, it says $30. And you know what it is? As an Xbox 360 game, oh, I hate that because it puts that ugly banner. I want an Xbox one. Oh, okay, this one looks like it looks like it's $30
For
I
all
tell you,
5 chapters.
all 5 episodes or 4. Oh no, it's 5. Yeah, what was the first episode? It was called King's Quest Free. I don't know, but they are surprisingly good. Yeah, it's 5 episodes. Surprisingly good. I also, that's why I like to call things Daventry when I play video games. My Animal Crossing island, my first one is called Daventry. I always call it Daventry after King's Quest. So, yep.
Well, John, no shocker here. I don't know if you know what my number 1 is, but
Wow, I don't know.
my number 1 is a Sierra game
Ooh.
that was a clone version of King's Quest. They cloned it because
I know what this
they
is.
were promoting a new Disney movie, The Black Cauldron.
Yeah.
It is legit the same game as King's Quest,
But
it follows the storyline of Black Cauldron. It's a point and click, or typing in commands, collect. It's the same game.
But is it the same story?
Not the same story. It's the story of the Black Cauldron film and books.
So before you continue, Sierra had an engine.
It's
how they built these games. So it's the same engine. So okay, but it's a different game. Okay, good.
Correct.
I've always wanted to play this, by the way, too. I haven't.
Same engine, just it made me fall in love with the Black Cauldron series. Yeah, it's just a blast. I mean, it's all about Hedwig the pig, and you're a pig boy, and the pig has magical powers. So the Horn King tries to steal the magic pig, and now your responsibility is to go get him back. And it's a journey along the way, through spooky, creepy, haunted forests and swamps and witches and dragons hunting you. And it's an absolute blast. It's a fun game.
I'm glad that your top game is Sierra.
Yeah. Yep. So, yeah, that was fun. Nice reminiscing there of some old school games. Maybe we spent $3 on a game.
It's truly old school. I'm glad that we did.
Yes.
Number 2.
Halloween Mayhem. John, what does it mean? Because let's be honest, how many shitty, pixelated, horror, first-person type scary games did I send you?
Like 4.
before. You ignored most of them, and then I
Ignored
just
most
kept
of them.
sending them. And then you said, "No, Drew, we're not doing that." And I said, "Well, what the fuck, John? What are we gonna do? Because it's Mayhem time, and it's Halloween time, and I love Halloween."
I do too. I do too. But like, there's just not really good games. But
So we're doing something that we've never done before. I think that's fair to say, right?
Very fair to say.
We're doing a Halloween Mayhem that isn't necessarily video game based, right?
Right.
This is
Real life.
We want to just do Halloween fun in real life. And it's going to be available to, it could be your whole family, to be you, to be your kids. I don't really care who submits it. And it's going to be just like always. We're going to have a first place winner if it wins $15. And after that, it's going to be a lottery winner for $10. So we encourage everyone to submit something because you could win $10. But here's the rules. You have to submit a Halloween themed either photo, a video. You can write a tweet. You could write a story. You could write a poem like I did last week about the OLED, 'Twas the Night. It could be anything. It could be something Halloween or spooky.
It can be a
themed.
TikTok.
It could be a TikTok. It could legit be anything you want. It could be scary, but it has to be some type of spooky Halloweenish type themes.
Right.
And you submit it to us, via Twitter or Discord, or if you do a TikTok, that's fine. Send it to us that, any other way. Just let us know.
No. We talked about this 100 times today, Drew. You can submit it via Discord in the monthly Mayhem room that we create, or you can submit it with the hashtag Halloween Mayhem.
Yes,
and add us as well, just to make sure we get it.
Yep.
But you can submit a TikTok video. Just give us the link. You can submit an Instagram video. Just send us the link. You can send us the link to anything. You could just send us the photo directly or the video directly. It could be a 30-second Nintendo Switch game clip. Maybe you finished a game. Maybe a scary part in a game. Anything that you want it to be. But I was trying to explain to Drew the TikTok thing. It was back and forth.
So like John said, add us if you're going to be on Twitter or anything, and Dads After Dark. And no matter where you post it, that you could do a hashtag, use Halloween Mayhem. That's with an E, not an A. But here's some ideas. I just threw some ideas. You could play a spooky game and take a screenshot. You could 100% a spooky game. You could show us a really unique spooky game glitch. You could do a spooky dance. You could show us your Halloween decorations at your house. It could be a costume that you and your family wore. You could carve a pumpkin that's a Nintendo character. Make up a Halloween rap or song or some sort. Send us a scary video. Draw us a picture. It legit could be anything.
You could play Ages of Mages, which is the scariest thing I can imagine.
You can. But here's how you're going to win, right? Because there's only one winner. All the submissions will be judged by John and myself, possibly live next episode, right? So this is a shortened version. You're going to have 2 weeks. So from the time you hear this, all the way to November 1st. That way we want to include your Halloween night photos if you come across a scary house, whatever it might be. So it's going to be November 1st, let's say by 3 p.m. Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to submit. And John and I are going to be judging off 3 categories, so keep these in mind. Spookiness, right? And I guess spookiness should really mean Halloweenish, right? Or spookiness or scariness.
It could be horror. It could be
horror.
Cute.
Yeah. Creativity. Is it unique? Is it original? Is it your idea? Is it someone else's? Just what's the creativity of it? And the last one, Nintendo. And I'm not going to say Nintendo / video games, right? We'll kind of make that all one bracket. But, we are a Nintendo video game type podcast. We want some type of, and if it doesn't have any of that, that's okay. It's just, you might not win.
It's your best chance to win.
Your best chance. Now, we're going to judge it. We're going to pick what we think is the best based on those 3 categories. And then every other entry will get 1 lottery ball. So you're all on the even playing field.
Mm-hmm.
And then we're going to allow everybody to submit up to 2 entries. So you can submit up to 2 things total, no more. But if you want to do 1, you can do 1. It's just different. It's different. It's fun. We have a graphic. The graphics are already be set up into our Discord and our new channel. We'll have Tim bake that. And It's going to be different and fun. I'm excited. I want like over 10 entries at least. I want to see you people out there, take some pictures. Like I said, submit a picture of your family dressed up on Halloween night, or if you take your kids trick or treating and then you come across this really cool decorated house, just do it. Take a video of it. That's the whole point of this
thing.
The
great part about this Mayhem, it doesn't involve you spending 5 or 10 hours playing a video game. It could be literally a picture of some roadside mannequins. It could be anything. And you can submit 2 times, which is great, because if you want to blow your load on a poem, but then you want to do a video too or something like that. So you get multiple chances to win.
I will say, if you roll credits on Ages of Mages, you're getting a lot of bonus points from me.
Yeah, you're not going to win with me though. Well, I don't know how we have to figure out how we're going to decide, but we'll figure it out. We'll decide. And like you said, we might do it right on our show next week.
Yeah,
this will be fun. I'm excited.
Judging system. I'm excited for this. This will be a lot of fun, guys. We hope you get your submissions in. So we really only have about 2 weeks to do that.
And we can't win, but we're both going to submit. So
absolutely,
we got to share.
And number 1.
Oh, I hit the button. No. I hit the button and it didn't start, and then I went to go press it again, and it hit it.
Zencast isn't perfect.
Number 1 topic is going to be, we had to talk about it. The expansion pass prices were announced at the end of the Animal Crossing Direct. The big reason that they did mention them there is because the Animal Crossing DLC is now included in the expansion pass. So in addition to Sega Genesis and Nintendo 64, you get the Animal Crossing DLC for free. Now, here's where the controversy sets in.
Nothing's free.
Individual online services were $20. If you get the expansion with it, it's now $50. Okay, so that includes both. So you're spending $30 more on your online service. If you have a family plan, it was $35. Now, with the expansion, it is $80. So it is $45 more. So there are a bunch of little problems in this from this perspective. If you were paying $20 before, you're paying $30 extra. If you were paying $35 before, you're paying $45 extra. Not only is it a lot more money than we thought, I originally thought it was going to be a $5 expansion. And let's not include the Animal Crossing in this, but I thought it was going to be a $5 addition. Most people were thinking $10. It ended up being $30. Here's my problem with it. This is like buying cable. When you get the expansion, you are paying for Nintendo 64, Sega Genesis, and Animal Crossing, no matter what it is you wanted to play. And nobody wants all 3. There is a huge segment of Animal Crossing players that don't give a shit about the N64 and Sega Genesis. And there's a whole bunch of gamers that don't play Animal Crossing that want the N64 and the Genesis. And if you're like me, I just wanted the Genesis. I didn't even want the N64. I don't like those 3D games. I wanted the Genesis so I can play some of these games I didn't play before, maybe buy the controller. But you have to buy all 3 at one time. If it were $10, maybe nobody would have cared. But it's, for a family plan, which is what I do, $45 extra. And then here's the second problem with it from my point of view. And then I'll actually let you talk, Drew. I'm interested in the Genesis. Nobody in my family is. Even if I was interested in the N64, nobody in my family would be. My wife is interested in Animal Crossing, and nobody else is. So how do you have a family if you had 3 young kids who were like on this? They might not want any of that stuff, but you're kind of paying for it for them because you are paying for up to, 7 people. But it's like, but you're making me pay more and you don't know who those people are. So the pricing for this is just too vague and all inclusive. And so I'm not going to get the expansion pass because I don't want to pay $45. I understand that's like maybe $4 a month, but it's going to go so unused. I don't want to pay the extra $45. I don't. Are you getting it?
Yeah. I think you guys overthink this thing way too much. for me, I'm on an individual plan. What's that? $20 a month.
For
right?
now.
I'm
Aren't you
$20 a
thinking of
year.
expanding? Yeah.
$20 a year. So I don't need to expand. I don't see why I ever would need a family plan. I don't know why. Me and my
You
wife
have
share.
a family, Drew.
We can just all
You've
use
got
my
3
account.
Switches.
But why do I need it unless we're going to play games against each other?
Well, if they use their own account.
But why they don't? They use my account on a different Switch.
Yeah, that's weird.
Why is that weird?
Because they're using your save data.
I don't want. Well, they're not playing my games. They're playing different games.
Maybe you want to play Mario Kart, like you said, or something like, and you want to play with each other.
Anyways, so expansion, $30 more a year, right? Animal Crossing's $25. I think that's absurd. By the way, I think that's a lot of money for the Animal Crossing DLC.
Oh, really? Oh, no, I don't think so. But okay.
But $30 a year, like you said, what is that? That's a couple $2 a month, $2.50 a month, right? Which is pennies. Here's what I think's happening. When Nintendo Online came out originally, what's that? 2 years ago. It was what? It's $20 a year, which is pennies, essentially pennies. What did that include? It included the ability to play online games,
correct?
And what, like at the time,
cloud storage,
and like 4 NES games.
No, it was more than 4. I think they started with 20.
Maybe it's 20. But my point is they sold you on the fact that more stuff will be coming, right? More games. And then the Super Nintendo games, more stuff came. The expansion pass is $30. You might not seem like you're getting a ton now. We know we're getting X number of N64 games and X number of Sega games, and it includes Animal Crossing. We know more games are coming. They've already told us that. I think this whole Animal Crossing thing is just the start. I think we're going to be seeing other DLCs that are now included.
Possibly.
Right, so
if Mario Kart is included in that, by the way, then maybe I'm sold.
You need to give time to build it up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? But overall, when I look at what I'm getting for $50, right? $50 a year. That's like
okay. But you're going to play. So to correct it, you are going to play the N64 games.
I'm definitely going to play. Well, Paper Mario is not even one of the originals, but when that comes out, I'll definitely play that. I'll definitely play Mario Golf when that comes out. I actually am considering playing Ocarina of Time. I'll probably pop in Mario Kart once or twice just to give it a go, but I bought the N64 controller. I mean, yeah, I don't think $30 to play some of those games that if I wanted to go buy Ocarina of Time on N64 or Paper Mario on N64, I bet you they cost more than $30.
Maybe.
I'm pretty sure they do.
I think if you are interested in the N64, if there's a bunch of games you want to play, you can justify the $30 cost, especially if you're going to play Animal Crossing. And you'll play Animal Crossing for a year.
It's a no-brainer. Right?
No, it's not a no-brainer only because for the first year, the $30 is basically covering you solo. But what about the second year and the third year? Because you conceivably could be playing Animal Crossing for a few years. You have to keep paying that to maintain it. Otherwise, what will happen is you're going to double dip. You're gonna get rid of it after the year, but then you're gonna want the DLC, so you'll end up buying it anyway. Like that's gonna happen for people.
Maybe. I mean, but the DLC, the Happy Home Design stuff, it kind of seems like once you beat that, you beat it. There's nothing else to do on those islands, right?
No, because I think there's an endless amount of people who want homes designed. It's not going to end.
I thought it was like 8 and done. I thought that's the way I interpreted
Definitely not.
that.
No.
Okay. But I don't know. I still don't think it's a lot of money. I think $30 for a year. This expansion pass is, we haven't even talked about the Sega games, like you said. And I think it's going to continue to add these other DLC or other options for other games in this. I think this is only the beginning, just like when we kicked off the original.
I agree with you. They are definitely going to add N64 games, and they're going to add some Sega Genesis games. I don't know how many, because those they have to license every single one. So the more they add, their profit just dissolves. So I don't know how many more Sega Genesis games we'll get. But I'll counterpoint to you. They will be adding, and I mean, if they did a Mario Kart DLC, that would have been really interesting if they said Mario Kart DLC is on the Nintendo Online, and that's the only way to get it. Can you imagine that? Because you need Nintendo Online to play Mario Kart Online. So if you just said these are online courses and you need to have I would be tempted to be like just for that. But they didn't do that. And my counterpoint to you is they will be adding more. But does that mean that it's worth $45 a year to me for that? It doesn't. I need more. And see, I'm not interested in the N64 games, but where's the value now? If you're going to add more, do it the way the other services do, charge more over time, but start off a little cheaper. Maybe the first year, the expansion, even if it's like $30 extra. And then next year they say, we're going to raise it a few dollars. I don't know.
But here's my thing. I think about the $20 of what you get, right?
Right.
You get a lot. And when you compare the $20 to other PlayStation and Xbox online services, right? I think they realize that their individual, even family plan basic price is probably maybe a little too cheap. Maybe that should be $30.
Maybe they're offsetting it.
But rather than just saying, hey, all you people out there, we're going to jump up the price and then piss off a lot of people, this is a different way to gain some of that cost back at the same time.
It is, but
maybe I'm not saying for sure, but maybe, right?
It comes across to the user. It comes across as like you're charging me how much more for this, and it's more than the base price, which is really weird.
I don't disagree. It's weird in that sense. I do agree being more than a base price is weird, right? I 100% agree with that statement. But it goes back to the Metroid Dread and God of War comparison, right? For $30 or $45 in your case, it's not bad if you have a couple games or a couple family members that want to play games. It's really not a bad deal. Because if you went into a retro store, like I said, and bought some of those Sega games and N64 games, you're going to spend a lot more than that.
Sure.
And you know there's more games coming. So from that point of view, it's and then like you said, back to the Animal Crossing thing. So it's hard to say what is worth the value or not based on that. But I overall $50 for me for a year. Again, I don't even touch the NES or Super NES games anymore. So it's
that
I get it.
That's the problem. That's the rigidness is the problem. My family doesn't really use the online. I have a family plan, but they don't really use the online. Michelle uses it to visit Animal Crossing towns, but she doesn't play Mario Kart anymore. She doesn't play Splatoon.
No.
I use it, and even then I don't really use it that much anymore, but like I want to be able to play Mario Kart at any given time. I'm fine with the cost of $20 solo, but it's $35 for the family. But how come I can't pick just the Genesis or just the N64? And why are you throwing the Animal Crossing in there, making some assumption that I'm paying for Animal Crossing DLC, but I'm not playing Animal Crossing? Or if you have a family with 5, 6, 7 people, how many people are using the Animal Crossing? So in other words, this is and the reason why I think it is polarizing, everybody's in a different situation. If you had a family that all play, like Tim's family, all plays Animal Crossing, this is a no-brainer for them. Because he would have had to do $75 for 3 DLCs of Animal Crossing. He's paying for almost 2 years of it just from that cost. So, and by that time, they won't be playing Animal Crossing. The next console will be out. So that they're set. But for someone like me, where my family doesn't use it that much, I feel locked out because the principle. I mean, I could afford the $45, but it's a principle thing. Everyone's different. And if you're not into the N64 games, you feel like you're paying for something you're not using. It just doesn't feel. Whereas if you weren't interested in the NES and SNES games, $20 a year is still worth it for online, for Tetris, whatever. You didn't feel like you were overpaying for everything. Now you feel like you are.
Yeah. I mean, you're starting to sell me a little bit on your understanding and why you feel that way. I think if we have this conversation in 6 to 9 months from now, it's going to be a very different conversation because I think we're going to have, DLC for at least 2 other games tied into this expansion pass. Right? That would be my prediction between 6 and 9 months from now. Just like Animal Crossing, there's going to be 2 other games. Hell, it could be a Metroid Dread. if this was good reception,
I would,
it's like an epilogue or something. I'm just saying that they could do shit like that now, and rather than charging people, I mean, they don't really charge people for DLC. Nintendo's weird. Nintendo's different. That's what they do.
They might
telling you, you will see other DLCs tied into this yearly expansion pass. That's what people want. People want subscription fees now. That's what that's everybody, right?
I will be interested to see if they do, because I think you're right. I think they will add more. They did it with Tetris 99 and Pac-Man 99, even though they did that mostly every year.
They did the Mario. They did it all. Yeah. They'll be doing.
Maybe one day it'll be worth it. Maybe one day it'll be worth it. I just doesn't right now. It doesn't feel like it. That's all.
Yeah, I think it's a good topic. I think more to come. We'll have to see what happens.
It is. All right. Well, we've got a pretty busy next couple weeks in terms of games coming out. A lot of it's all compressed into a few days. So, speaking of, on October 25th, Nintendo 64 for Nintendo Switch Online and Sega Genesis come out. You'll be able to play these games. Interestingly enough, there is a Sega Genesis game on the Switch already, and a bunch of those games are included on there.
I own that, so that's my problem. It's like Gunstar Heroes. I would have jumped all over it, but I have Gunstar Heroes.
But you can buy those controllers too as well. I think the pre-orders already went for those.
I bought the 64 controller.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah, like I said, I plan on playing at least Paper Mario, which was also weird. They had Mario Party 2 on there, which is one of my favorites. But a lot of those mini games are in the new Super Mario Party, so that's weird.
Yeah.
I might play through Ocarina of Time. I haven't decided yet.
Okay.
Might.
And I think both of these systems, getting those controllers, makes those games much more enjoyable. So
agreed.
$50 each, but I think it's worth it. On October 26th, we're getting Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy. It's the cloud version. So good news, bad news. It'll look really good. Bad news is can't play it on the bus. October 28th, Fatal Frame, Maiden of Blackwater. I had been really hyped for this game, but note, this is digital only. There is no physical version for this game.
What type of game is this? I don't know.
That kind of turned me off. October 28th as well, we're getting the full version of Voice of Cards, The Isle Dragon Roars. I did a 30-second review on this one on the demo, and I actually quite enjoyed it. So I might be playing this one. I'm not sure. It depends what I'm playing on that date. But yeah, I might play this one. And then October 29th, Mario Party Superstars.
Yes.
So, yeah, it's a pretty big end of the month. Fatal Frame, I think, is a really good Halloween-timed game, just like Luigi's Mansion. But the other ones are all pretty much just happen to come out end of October. And that's what we got.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited for Mario Party. I'm excited to jump on some 64 games. Guardians of the Galaxy. I might. I don't know. I just see the price on that and look into it a little bit more. I don't care about the cloud version.
Maybe wait for the reviews too. Maybe the reviews will sway you.
Yeah, I'm not. Again, I hate to do it. I always look up how long these games are that I'm on the fence about, because it's like, if it's a 50-hour game, do I want to invest?
It'll be 10 to 15, 10 to 20 at most.
Yeah.
These games are not 50-hour games.
No, agreed.
Yeah.
So
they're all scripted.
If I could play it in a couple weekends, maybe I'll do it. As long as the servers aren't down.
I would be really, if you played this game, I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on it. I'm not going to play it because I don't like cloud games, but I'd be really interested in your thoughts on this, because I don't like the Marvel games in general. But I'm enjoying the Avengers games.
I was surprised on your feedback. Yeah.
And this one is like a story-based game where you're limited in your characters. This isn't just like pick anybody. So it's going to have a better story to it. So I think,
and that's the thing. I did a little bit of gameplay, see what type of gameplay it is. Do you have to play as like Rocket and Groot and Star-Lord and all those guys, or what's really? I got to do research, and again, if it's $60, I think I'm out. But if it came across as like a $40 or $30 game, and I like the gameplay, I might jump on it.
Okay. That'd be cool.
So that's it. That's all we got.
All right. We're going to do a spooky episode of the Dad's After Dark.
Yes, I cannot
wait.
All spooky. Every topic will have some type of spooky theme.
Spooky. So if you have any ideas for us or any spooky questions, we have a couple of Halloween questions that we got in, but we're going to wait until the next episode and do it all there. So if you ask something and you're waiting, that's why. But yeah, it's going to be all spooky themed, and can't wait. Can't wait. Speaking of spooky, The Patriots and Broncos stink.
They stink. Yep, they do. I'll be at the damn net suite though, so I'll be able to talk about it.
We can make it a topic. We're gonna get the
Yeah.
The Jets are pretty scary. Right?
Scary bad. I'm pumped to see the cheerleaders dressed up. They always do something tinky.
Oh,
for Halloween.
Get pictures.
Well, they have male cheerleaders now. I don't know if you knew that.
I'll take pictures. I bet you they're funny.
All right, I'll take pictures for you. We have good seats, so I'll take pictures.
Okay. Sweet.
All right, let's do it, Sadie.
Good night, dads.
Good morning.
The Dads After Dark show is a part of the Nintendo Dads
night.
family of podcasts. You
I
can
shouldn't
subscribe
talk
to
over
us anywhere
Sadie.
podcasts are available, including iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, and Stitcher. Be sure to join us on the Nintendo Dads Discord in the Dads After Dark show channel for some naughty After Dark talk. Follow us on Twitter at @NDadsAfterDark. Ask us a question, and we may answer it on the show. That's all for tonight. Good night, Dads. Sweet dreams.